arms seem to have mutated, and the whole person is full of strength. Doden, Earth style, rock formation technique. Chakra fluctuations were suddenly heard in the dark forest dozens of meters behind. Dimla was alert for a moment, and shouted while getting up, "Enemy attack!" Rumbling _. The earth shook, and the ground cracked with huge openings that seemed to devour people. The Kumogakure ninjas were all alert, all jumped up, and Demura flew directly into the forest. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several kunai shot out from the forest like cold stars and attacked Dimla. Dimla looked horrified. Kunai came too fast. He had to try his best to dodge, but he was still scratched by Kunai's arm, with a smear of blood. The Kumogakure ninjas were furious one by one, screaming in surprise. "Who the hell is that? Is it Konoha? How dare you attack the mission?" There is no way. When attacked in the land of fire, the first thing that comes to mind is the village of Konoha. Sweden, water style, the art of chasing the white waves. Luhan released another B-level Sweden, water style, ninjutsu in the forest. The terrifying current rushed into the camp and wiped out the fire. Luhan then shouted, "Damn Kumogakure, you guys are allied with Konoha. For the mere money, hum." After Luhan finished speaking in a disguised voice, he ran towards the south. The ninjas of the Kumogakure mission went berserk. Many ninjas had blue light, but not all of them. In Kumogakure village, not all ninjas can practice Raiden, thunder-style, chakra mode. "Damn, when did we form an alliance with Konoha? Who are you?" Xiaoai turned into blue lightning, roaring and chasing after Luhan. Luhan naturally couldn't let him catch up, but he couldn't get rid of him either. With Luhan leading the way, Kumogakure went all the way to the south, and was soon noticed by the Kurigakure mission from the south to the north, and the most powerful ghost lantern Barley immediately shouted, "Prepare to fight." The menacing Kumogakure and Kurigakure met, and without a word of nonsense, the two parties started a tragic fight. "Bastard, to be Konoha's lackey, you should be damned." Ghost Lantern Highland Barley directly found Xiaoai and launched a desperate attack. Xiaoai is a little confused. What is the lackey of Konoha? When did Kumogakure form an alliance with Konoha? He was not stupid. He immediately reflected, and immediately bit Kiba and gnashed his teeth. "Damn cold light, you must be the one who spread the rumor that we formed an alliance, and Kurigakure came to ask for trouble. You're courting death." Xiaoai didn't talk nonsense, and she was full of firepower to fight with the Ghost Lamp and Barley. Gui Dengqing Barley saw that Xiaoai's breath was unstable, but there was no obvious injury on her body. She thought that Xiaoai had healed the injury that had been pierced through her abdomen before, but she still had internal injuries. In fact, Xiaoai was injured, but it was because she wanted to forcibly break in. Hokage building, injured by White Fang. Luhan is like a ghost roaming the battlefield. With his strength, it is not difficult to kill everyone present, but he can't do it. His purpose is to make Kurigakure and Kumogakure enmity. Luhan is haunted and mysterious, and even if someone occasionally sees his shadow, it is impossible to determine who he is from. At the same time, Luhan was still killing Kurigakure ninjas. Chapter 0685 head off again. Luhan is guarding against one thing, which is to prevent the Kurigakure ninja from talking too much. If someone breaks his mouth during the battle and says that the Kurigakure mission was attacked before, it will be in vain. Therefore, Luhan ran everywhere to kill, and any ninja who talked a lot during the battle would be killed by him with Kunwu. Luhan threw out the kunai with all his strength in the dark, and there were really few Kurigakure ninjas who could escape. Fortunately, there are very few ninjas who can talk nonsense in battle, but Luhan still killed a large number of Kurigakure ninjas, because he wanted to ensure that Kumogakure would win this battle. There was a roar. Firelight. Water waves. The tree is falling apart. The elusive Luhan secretly helped, and Kumogakure, who had few people, quickly gained an advantage. In fact, Kumogakure was stronger than Kurigakure. Although there were fewer people, the 30 Kumogakure ninjas were of high quality and average strength. It is worth mentioning that Xiaoai is stronger than Guidong Highland Barley, but because his injuries are not yet healed, his combat effectiveness has decreased a lot. In addition, he has a hot temper and will not give up in the fight to the death. The internal injuries were aggravated by this. The more serious the injury, the more Xiao Ai's combat effectiveness will decrease, which is a vicious circle. Lu Han wandered around Xiao Ai and Gui Dengqing barley after the elusive killing. He would never give Gui Dengqing barley a chance to kill Xiao Ai. Although this possibility was very low, Lu Han was still afraid of accidents. Xiao Ai can't die. When he is dead, Lao Ai will not only hate Kurigakure, but also Konoha. After all, it was Konoha's rumor that caused the incident. But as long as Xiao Ai doesn't die, Lao Ai will certainly be angry, but he has a debt and a debt. Kumogakure and Konoha are already hostile, and it will not change anything, so he can't vent his anger on Konoha, he can only fight Kurigakure. The two sides fought fiercely for an hour. Because there are no characters who can beat the heroes, the battle is not over yet, but Kurigakure has shown signs of defeat, and fewer Kurigakure ninjas are active. Kumogakure ninjas have strong physique and strong defense because most of them are injured and die. Rare. And the other, more and more Kurigakure ninjas, encountered the situation of being besieged. Gui Dengqing barley and Xiao Ai have not yet decided the winner, but Xiao Ai has already vomited some blood, not from being beaten, but because of the aggravation of internal injuries, and Gui Dengqing barley is also seriously injured. Lu Han hid in the tree. While noting Xiao Ai's battle with the ghost lamp, he was also observing the insight map. He was afraid that Kurigakure would endure and run away. If anyone dared to stay away from the center of the battlefield, Lu Han would go over and kill the ninja. Finally, due to the decreasing number of Kurigakure ninjas, the ghost lamp green barley was also besieged and injured. Damn it. I'm not reconciled. I'm not reconciled. Gaidong Qingbara screamed wildly, then retreated violently, shouting, "Retreat!" The Kurigakure mission is defeated. Under the leadership of Gui Dengqing barley, there were only 8 people left and evacuated from the battlefield. Xiao Ai wanted to chase the ghost lamp and highland barley, and her breath burst out again, but after running for more than 100 meters, she fell and rolled out, spitting blood. In fact, it is very difficult to destroy Xiao Ai's Raiden, Thunder-style, Chakra mode defense with the Suiten, Water-style, ninjutsu that Ghost Lantern is good at. The internal injury will be further aggravated. At this time, the injury in Xiao Ai's body was about to endanger his life, and some Kumogakure ninjas who were planning to chase the Kurigakure ninja stopped. Master! 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 After Xiao Ai fell, there were bursts of screams around. Kurigakure ninjas at the highest speed in the normal state. They ran separately and went in different directions. If there was no Lu Han, maybe a few would escape. In view of the extraordinary strength of the ghost lamp, although Lu Han could kill him in seconds, the chakra fluctuations would be too strong, and the magnifying move would be easy to be discovered, so Lu Han didn't go to him first. Lu Han had cleared all the Kurigakure ninjas. The ghost lamp and highland barley had left the scope of the insight map. The full moon was in the sky, as if covered with blood. Not that the moon is Yuhi's, but the eyes of the ghost light barley are Yuhi's, severely congested and full of fine bloodshots. The ghost lamp and the highland barley ran all the way, and seeing that no one was chasing after him, he gradually slowed down, and people gradually calmed down. How could this be? Dead. How can Kumogakure be so tough? No, it's not right. Could it be that there are high-level medical ninjas in the Kumogakure mission? All the ninjas who were seriously injured before were healed. The calm ghost lantern highland barley found some problems, but he always tried to justify himself. The cold wind blew, and the high-speed moving ghost lamp felt a little chill in his body, and he looked to both sides subconsciously. At this moment, a blade of light shot out from the darkness and slid across the neck of the ghost in an instant. He was injured and in poor condition. The consuming ghost lantern highland barley didn't have the strength to fight back at all, its head flew out, and the headless corpse ran forward for more than 10 meters before falling down. The head of the ghost lantern barley rolled under the tree. Hataki Sakumo appeared under the tree, and returned the knife to the scabbard. Call. Lu Han appeared nearby. Seeing the scene, he couldn't help but say, "Steal the head again." White Fang touched his nose, but didn't speak. He still didn't understand what Lu Han meant by stealing people's heads. Naturally, he couldn't have known that Lu Han would lose rewards for killing enemies. "All killed?" Lu Han asked. White Fang nodded, and Lu Han asked him to kill those Kurigakure ninjas who were too seriously injured due to the afternoon attack and did not participate in the pursuit. With his strength, he could easily solve them. "Dispose of the corpse and go back," Lu Han said. The next day, early morning. Lu Han woke up in the entanglement of legs and arms like Jade Lotus, moved his head out of Tsunade's arms, looked at Hyuga Luo Ning, who was hugging him like an octopus and was sleeping, smiled slightly, and stretched out his hand to grab it. Hyuga Luo Ning's ribs. Hyuga Luo Ning woke up after being harassed and snorted in dissatisfaction, but her jade arms wrapped around Lu Han's neck and offered a sweet kiss. It's morning exercise time again. Lu Han was about to make his next move, but he felt faint chakra fluctuations coming from the window. "Lord Hangguang, the Kumogakure mission is back," Anbu Ninja said outside the window. Chapter 0686 Why don't you kill me? Come back. Lu Han was taken aback, but he didn't expect that, just as the Kurigakure ninja analyzed, Kumogakure ninja dared to come to Konoha when Xiao Ai was seriously injured in the Fire Country. Two possibilities. First, Xiao Ai was too injured to be sent back to the border camp, so she came to Konoha. The second is that Xiao Ai is looking for trouble. Xiao Ai and Kumogakure think that Konoha deceived Kurigakure, making Kurigakure think that Kumogakure and Konoha are allied, so they want to attack Konoha's ally Kumogakure mission first. I see, Lu Han responded to the outside. It's so annoying. Hyuga Luo Ning muttered in dissatisfaction when she knew that Lu Han was going to be busy again. Tsunade was also woken up, looked up, reached out and pinched Hyuga Luo Ning's face and scolded with a smile. "You little bastard, it's endless, forgot how you cried last night. People want to have a baby." Hyuga Luo Ning wrinkled her nose and muttered. Tsunade glared at her. "Really, which pot can't be lifted without opening it?" "Okay, get up." Lu Han sat up and said, "Tsunade, put on your clothes quickly, maybe you need your help." The Kumogakure mission came to Konoha again. Unlike the last time when they were full of energy and arrogance, the number of Kumogakure mission members who came this time was less, and most of them were injured, and the blood on the clothes of many people had dried up. Under the surveillance of the Konoha police force, including Xiao Ai, several seriously injured Kumogakure ninjas were sent to the Konoha Medical Center, and other Kumogakure ninjas followed. However, people went to the medical center, but no one gave them treatment. "You were blackmailing us before, and your Kumogakure Legion was still eyeing our borders. Why should you heal your wounds? If it weren't for your status as an envoy, you would have been arrested long ago." Konoha refused to give treatment, and most of the Kumogakure ninja kept silent, knowing that they had to wait for someone who could make a decision, but a few grumpy Kumogakure ninja made a fuss, and was stopped by other Kumogakure ninjas. Xiao Ai's face was pale, and she never said a word. Kaharu Udatane happened to be handling official business in the medical department this morning. After getting the news, he rushed to the ward as soon as possible. There were people inside and outside the ward, including Kumogakure ninjas and Uchiha ninjas who were monitoring them. Kaharu Udatane stood at the door and watched, but instead of ordering someone to heal, he talked to the other Kumogakure ninjas and stalked to find out what happened. Yesterday's action was carried out by Lu Han and Anbu. Only Lu Han and White Fang knew everything about Akatsuki. Kaharu Udatane vaguely felt that this had something to do with Hangguang, but he couldn't be sure. "Come here. Lord Cold Light. Lord Cold Light. Master Tsunade." There was a commotion at the door, and although everyone avoided to both sides, Lu Han, whose face was sinking like water, and Tsunade, who was expressionless, entered the ward one after the other. Xiao Ai, who had been silent for a while, suddenly became extremely excited, suddenly sat up from the sickbed, and drank Luhan angrily with one finger. You shameless. Poof. Xiao Ai was furious, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. Master. Kumogakure ninjas around the sickbed were in a hurry. Have you been attacked? Luhan frowned with a black face in the actor mode. Please believe that I, Konoha, will never do such a thing. The two armies will not be killed when the two armies are fighting. We, Konoha, will not attack the mission. Do it. Luhan said that he was suspected of not recruiting himself, but in fact he knew what Xiao Ai was thinking, so he dared to say so. Moreover, the Kumogakure mission was attacked in the country of fire, and Konoha was the most suspected. Luhan doesn't know the situation, and it is reasonable to distance himself first. It's Kurigakure. The Kurigakure mission attacked us, said the Kumogakure ninja. What? Luhan was taken aback. Kurigakure mission. Why did they attack you? It's not because of you. Xiao Ai struggled to sit up again. You said that Konoha Kumogakure formed an alliance, and they... Poof. Xiao Ai spewed blood again and lay back. The corners of Luhan's mouth twitched faintly. He took it. So badly hurt and so angry. I said that Konoha and Kumogakure formed an alliance. When did I say that? Luhan frowned, and after thinking for a while, he showed a sudden look. No, Kurigakure must have misunderstood. At that time, the Kurigakure mission first proposed to us 300 million taels of compensation, and then increased the amount of compensation to the sky-high price of 500 million taels. They were crazy. I said at the time, the money has been given to Kumogakure, and there is no money left, hurry up. I said the money is given to you, but it's an excuse, they should have misunderstood. Xiao Ai was stunned. Not only he was stunned, everyone in the room was stunned. Still that question. Kurigakure actually asked you for 500 million taels, how much the hell did you rob? Everyone's eyes on Luhan became wrong. Especially Tsunade, looking at the back of Luhan's head, his eyes were already glowing. Luhan felt cold behind his back, and his expression froze. He had already noticed that there seemed to be a problem with the focus of everyone's attention, and immediately said, well, hurry up, heal the wound first, Tsunade. Go and heal Xiao Ai, That who, from Kumogakure. You come here and tell me what happened yesterday. I have to write a letter to Raikage, I think it's a misunderstanding. The southwestern border of the Fire Nation, among the mountains, underground. The incomparably huge cave was shrouded in a seal enchantment. In the middle of the enchantment was a high platform. On the high platform was a brazier the size of a house. The flames of the brazier illuminated the entire enchantment. The figure with white hair sat cross-legged on the bluestone near the brazier, and the chakra fluctuated and fluctuated, sometimes fierce, sometimes soft, sometimes fire, sometimes wind. His feet were pitch black, and whenever he checked his body when Carrot rages, cursed lines appear on his jet black feet. White Zetsu ghosts usually appear in the corner of the cave, holding a food box in his hand, looking at the white-haired figure from a distance. With a sneer at the corner of his mouth, he walked over slowly. The white-haired figure felt that someone was coming, and the breath on his body gradually calmed down and returned to calm. Don't waste your efforts, Senluo cursed you at the cost of his life, you can't break it. White Zetsu walked to the blue stone and put down the food box. Why didn't you kill me? The white-haired figure looked up at White Zetsu. This person is Sarutobi Hiruzen. Chapter 0687 Sarutobi Hiruzen and White Zetsu. 44 years old, for a ninja, it can be said that he is in his prime. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is 44 years old at this moment, is as old as an old man in his 60s or 70s. His hair is all white, and his face is wrinkled like a knife. Out of the gully. More than a month ago, Senju Senra led people to attack Konoha, causing tens of thousands of casualties to Konoha. Senra, who is Master Mokuden, wood style, and owns Mangekyo Sharingan, came and went freely during the battle. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know why Senju Senra didn't. He died, but he knew that Senluo was here for revenge. Has lived for nearly 20 years without being a ghost or a ghost. Sarutobi Hiruzen understands Senluo's hatred for himself, and at the same time, he also understands that Senluo must die. Because once Senluo tells the truth of the year, the true thoughts about the decline of the Senju family, the consequences will be disastrous for Sarutobi Hiruzen. He has maintained his reputation for decades, and his greatness, and the admiration of the world for him, will be in vain on the day the truth is announced. Many things cannot stand investigation or scrutiny. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen can immediately deny everything Senju Senra said, but Senju Senra was born in the Konoha Anbu root organization, many people know that he owns the Mangekyo Sharingan belonging to Uchiha Kagami, which is something Sarutobi Hiruzen cannot explain. So he wants Senju to die. Konoha, who had just been hit hard, and chased Senju Senra for several days and nights, just to keep Senju Senra a secret. He succeeded. Senju Senra is not Sarutobi Hiruzen's opponent. He had the chance to escape, but he was willing to die with Sarutobi Hiruzen. After attracting Sarutobi Hiruzen to the designated place, he launched the forbidden technique on Sarutobi Hiruzen with his own life before his death, sealing Sarutobi Hiruzen's double foot. However, what Senju Senrao did not know was that after his death, Uchiha Madara did not kill Sarutobi Hiruzen as agreed, but imprisoned Sarutobi Hiruzen. For more than a month, since Senju Senra's death, Sarutobi Hiruzen has only seen one person, and that is White Zetsu. Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't know who White Zetsu is, and hasn't seen Uchiha Madara, but White Zetsu has mentioned the cold light in front of him many times. What's the difference between you now and dead? White Zetsu walked to the brazier and turned his back to Sarutobi Hiruzen, his obliquely long shadow being pulled by the jumping firelight and constantly shaking. You who are alive may be more valuable. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent. For so long, he had fought, cursed, and tried to attack White Zetsu, but he didn't get any results, and he gave up long ago. People are knives and I am fish. Sarutobi Hiruzen knows his situation. Let Hangguang come to see me. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. White Zetsu always mentioned Hangguang, inside and out as if Hangguang was the mastermind behind the scenes. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen had doubts in his heart, it didn't prevent him from trying. The cold light has replaced you in charge of Konoha, I'm afraid it won't come. White Zetsu said with a sneer, however, he wants to ask you a question. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen said coldly. Since Konoha was attacked, you have disappeared again. Sunagakure, Amegakure, Kumogakure, and Kurigakure all have brothers to Konoha. Although Kurigakure was hit hard by Hangguang with his own power, the main army is complete and still has the power to fight. In addition to the Kumogakure army pressing the border and extorting 200 million taels from Konoha, Kurigakure also did the same, sending the first main army to land in the country of Vortex to form a coercion against the country of Fire. They also came to blackmail Konoha. White Zetsu will Ninja World. The latest situation has been roughly shared with Sarutobi Hiruzen. In fact, for so long, he would tell Sarutobi Hiruzen about the situation outside every once in a while, so although Sarutobi Hiruzen was locked up, he knew a lot about the situation outside. Hangguang asked me to ask you, if you were replaced, how would you deal with the problems Konoha is facing now? White Zetsu turned to look at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought about it for a while and answered this question seriously. Agree with Kumogakure's proposal, but keep the price down. After reaching an alliance with Kumogakure, send someone to Iwagakure village. Be sure to reach an alliance agreement with Iwagakure village. For the Kumogakure dispute, another 200 million taels can be used to make a short-term alliance with Iwagakure, but this matter cannot be publicized. White Zetsu once told Sarutobi Hiruzen how much Hangguang robbed, so Sarutobi Hiruzen automatically doubled Konoha's financial resources. After reaching an alliance with Kumogakure and Iwagakure, he tried his best to encourage them to use the country of rain to fight against Sunagakure and Amegakure, while Konoha dispatched at least half of his troops and marched into the country of Vortex. Kurigakure lost many strong men, although the number of ninjas is large, but it's not enough to worry about. This way, White Zetsu showed a satisfied smile. I will tell Han Guang what you said. White Zetsu has been trying to create an illusion, making Sarutobi Hiruzen mistakenly believe that he ended up in this end because of Han Guang's arrangement. However, White Zetsu didn't want Sarutobi Hiruzen to think that his party was Han Guang's subordinate, not his subordinate, but a cooperation between the two parties. In this way, White Zetsu would have enough reason to deceive Sarutobi Hiruzen when he turned against Han Guang in the future. For White Zetsu, or rather, for Uchiha Madara, Sarutobi Hiruzen is a bargaining chip against the cold in the future. What Uchiha Madara and Ju have done over the years is nothing more than to make the ninja world more chaotic. They do not need a peaceful and stable ninja world. The child with Rinnegan has not grown up yet, and Uchiha Madara wants to lay a solid foundation for him. So whoever wants to end the war, or rule the ninja world, Uchiha Madara will stop it. This is the reason why Uchiha Madara has never killed Sarutobi Hiruzen. Han Guang is an uncontrollable being. The speed of his growth is unbelievable. Although he is a martial artist now and likes to solve problems with strength, no one can guarantee what will happen to him in the future. Senju Hashirama was also a war madman. I don't know how many ninjas died at his hands, but what happened in the end? He did not forget the dream he made as a child. He became a saint. For Uchiha Madara, Sarutobi Hiruzen is a pawn that can change the world at any time. Have a good rest. White Zetsu floated away, moving away from the dark voice. I'll see you again. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked back at White Zetsu's leaving figure, with a gloomy expression on his face. Chapter 0688_Cold Light Strategy. The Land of Fire, the Hidden Village of Konoha. After arranging the healing of the Kumogakure mission, Luhan temporarily appeased the irritable Xiao Ai, and then asked the Kumogakure mission ninja about what happened last night, and then held a secret meeting in the third conference room. Before the difference, more than 20 ninjas participated in this secret meeting, in addition to Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, Hyuga Huyong, Hitaki Sakumo, Inazuka Tears, Uchiha Leiyong, Hyuga Heiyong, Tsunade, the Minister of Administration, the Minister of Health, the Vice Principal of the Ninja School, and the patriarchs of some large and medium-sized clans. It is worth mentioning that Hokage is also the principal of the Ninja School, but now Sarutobi Hiruzen is missing, and Luhan is not Hokage, so the Vice Principal of the Ninja School is temporarily in charge. Since Luhan seldom put on airs at the meeting, there was no pressure from Sarutobi Hiruzen's many years in office, so the atmosphere of the meeting was relatively relaxed. After the meeting started, Kaharu Udatane spoke first, frowning. How is it possible? Even if Kurigakure mistakenly thought that Kumogakure was allied with us, there is no need for them to attack the Kumogakure mission. Such a risky move angered the third generation of Raikage, and would only make them the situation as worse. Quote. Actually, if you think about it from another angle, it's not impossible. The person who immediately refuted Kaharu Udatane turned out to be Homura Mitokado. Compared with Kaharu Udatane, who has always been extremely active, Homura Mitokado is a very active person, both in meetings and in private. A silent person doesn't mean that he doesn't speak, but that he doesn't talk nonsense and rarely argues with others, but in many cases, his words will hit the nail on the head. What angle? Kaharu Udatane looked at Homura Mitokado. Kurigakure mission. Homura Mitokado said, let's not think about what happened to Kurigakure. Last night's action was not a decision made by Kurigakure, but a decision made by the Kurigakure mission. Time was running out, they definitely didn't have time to seek instructions from Kurigakure village, so they is acting without authorization. Quote. So what? Kaharu Udatane asked again. The leader of the Kurigakure mission this time, Gaidon Chinchi, is a very impulsive and conceited person. He is quite famous among the younger generation of Kurigakure. Lord Hangguang arranged for the Kurigakure mission to see that we have prepared money for Kumogakure. From the perspective of the Highland Barley, he would definitely feel that we, Konoha, gave Kumogakure the money we robbed from Kurigakure. Inside and outside, we, Konoha, have nothing to lose. Quote. What a humiliation. If everyone here is changed, if this happens, no matter how good your heart is, you will not be calm. Homura Mitokado glanced around the conference table. Everyone nodded one after another and looked at each other. Before the meeting started, they had communicated with each other and already knew what happened. So, with the impulsive character of the ghost lamp, the decision to attack Kurigakure is rash and unsafe, but it is not incomprehensible. Homura Mitokado continued, as for the purpose, it is natural to want to wipe out the Kumogakure mission and put the blame on it. Give us Konoha, as long as we do it cleanly, we, Konoha, will take the blame, and in their opinion, our alliance with Kumogakure will collapse immediately. Quote. So it is. Lord Menyon is right. Many people nodded, looking like they were suddenly open. I have to admit that although this person is impulsive and conceited, he is also considered bold and scheming. Homura Mitokado smiled. Unfortunately, his conceit hurt him. He miscalculated the strength of the Kumogakure mission, which led to the incident. Exposed. Having said that, Homura Mitokado looked at Lu Han. Although he didn't like Lu Han, he had to admit that compared to Han Guang's, the ghost lamp's strategy was nothing compared to that of Han Guang. At this moment, he finally understood the meaning of Han Guang's previous arrangement. No effort to confuse the Kurigakure mission into thinking that Konoha had an alliance with Kumogakure, causing the Kurigakure mission to attack the Kumogakure mission, so that Konoha, though not allied with Kumogakure, seemed to be allied. The others also looked at Han Guang with admiration. They naturally knew that everything was planned by Lu Han. Only White Fang looked strange, because apart from Lu Han, only he knew what the real situation was. Lu Han glanced at the people present, and his heart was settled. With Homura Mitokado's foreshadowing, he talked about his plan, and it was simple. There were more than 20 people present, and they were the core rulers of Konoha. Only a few major legion leaders were not there, that's it. Lu Han held this meeting, and the reason why he called them all was to announce his plan to gain more support. Lord Hangguang, am I right? Homura Mitokado asked, perhaps sensing the abnormality in Lu Han's expression. That's right. Lu Han glanced at Homura Mitokado. You're right when you say that the ghost lamp is impulsive and conceited, but his intelligence is not as high as you think. Besides, the two envoys of the Kurigakure mission, the other one is the uncle of Gui Dengqing Barley, Gui Dengtu Shan, who became famous in the world during the First Ninja World War. Not only powerful, but also extremely intelligent, he would not be so reckless. Quote. Oh, Homura Mitokado was surprised. That's. As you think, this is indeed a game, but in order to prompt the Kurigakure and Kumogakure embassies to meet, I will first. Lu Han explained his plan. This is an uncomplicated plan, but it is a bit complicated to say, because if any link is wrong, it will lead to failure. Following Lu Han's remarks, everyone else in the conference room was stunned. When Lu Han said that he used the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode to deceive the Ghost Lantern Highland Barley, no one had any doubts. The implementation has long proven that cold light can even be copied by Kekkei Genkei, although in this regard, many people have been different guesses, but Lu Han is indeed able to obtain other people's skills, there is no doubt about that. Half an hour after nightfall, the Kurigakure mission finally followed the traces laid out in the line of sight and found the Kumogakure mission. The two sides were at war. I was cruising nearby to prevent any Kurigakure ninjas from escaping. They are the key to the plan, once someone is alive. Escape, the attack on the Kurigakure mission will be revealed, and the plan will fail. Fortunately, no accident. After Lu Han finished speaking, everyone in the conference room looked shocked. All stunned by this plan. Chapter 0689_bow down. Is this plan adventurous, impulsive, might bring Konoha into doom? It doesn't matter anymore. Because the plan has been successful. With the cooperation of Han Guang, White Fang, and Hanbu's tolerance, this plan was implemented perfectly. Temper, once let him know about this, the catastrophe of Kurigakure will come. Homura Mitokado felt that he should now take back his previous evaluation of the Ghost Lamp and Highland Barley. Compared with Han Guang, Ghost Dengqing Barley's strategy is more than a dwarf. In front of him, Lu Han, he seems to have no brains. What's even more frightening is that if Han Guang didn't tell the plan, no one would know the truth. Both Kaharu Udatane and Homura Mitokado are smart, but neither of them guessed the truth. Kurigakure and Kumogakure were all scammed, but they didn't even know they were being scammed. Lu Han was very satisfied with the reactions of the people present. What he wanted was this effect. He wanted to let these people know that Hangguang, are not only the best in the ninja world, but also have the courage to take the position of Hokage. It is worth mentioning that everyone present did not have the name Yuhi. Lu Han didn't find Yuhi's name, because he didn't know why those people were still named Yuhi. Only a few people, such as the Shimura family patriarch and Sarutobi Lake Biwa, maintained the Yuhi name because of Danzo's death. As for Kaharu Udatane and Homura Mitokado, they used to be Yuhi, but they have changed to Orange recently. They don't like Lu Han, but they won't hurt Lu Han anymore. The reason is that Konoha at this time cannot be separated from them. Lu Han. Just like the Konoha that used to be inseparable from Sarutobi Hiruzen. The current Konoha is already precarious. If there is no more powerful person like Han Guang to shock all parties, I am afraid that Kumogakure would not have sent a mission, but would have directly entered the country of fire. This matter is of great importance. Everyone will rot in their stomachs after hearing it. Lu Han said again, just pretend that nothing happened. Remember, the fact is that the Kurigakure mission attacked the Kumogakure mission, just as Mr. Menyon analyzed. Intended to put the blame on us Konoha, and it failed, understand? Yes, Lord Hangguang. Everyone agreed with a bang, unprecedentedly neat. Lord Hangguang, I have another question. Inuzuka's tears were the one who spoke. Lord Tears, please speak. Lu Han looked. This matter is a foregone conclusion, and the third generation of Reikage will probably fight against Kurigakure, but... Inuzuka frowned and was very worried. For them, Kurigakure attacked because we deceived Kurigakure and claimed to have formed an alliance with Kumogakure. I'm afraid that time, Kumogakure will also. What Inuzuka said tearfully was a key point, and Konoha was responsible anyway. There's no need to worry about this matter. Lu Han said, glancing at everyone. First, we Konoha and Kumogakure are already hostile, and they are coercing us, and we release rumors to hurt them. The son of the third generation of Reikage is in the village at this time. As long as he is in Konoha village, Kumogakure will not dare to do anything to Muyu. This matter, by the way. Lu Han looked at Tsunade. Tsunade, how is Xiao Ai's injury? The name Xiao Ai was first mentioned by Lu Han, and it has been recognized. Tsunade knew who Lu Han was talking about. Lord Hangguang. Tsunade stood up directly and said formally, his injury is from the inside out. It is difficult to heal immediately. I have already suppressed his injury. I am afraid it will take 3 days to let him get rid of it. Injury. Okay. Lu Han nodded and snapped his fingers. It is best to delay the treatment effect on him for 10 days or 8 days, and then completely heal his injuries. Understood. Tsunade nodded. Lu Han raised his hand, motioned Tsunade to sit down, and said, Third. I have made an agreement with Reikage, the third generation, that in half a month, we will compete in the Valley of the End. If I can defeat him, he will retreat. What? It's going to be a duel. This. Everyone changed color and looked at each other. Tsunade's eyes widened, and she wanted to get up and yell, no, but she held back and froze again. What are you worried about? Is his husband really not the opponent of the third generation of Reikage? Third generation of Reikage has shaken the ninja world for many years and has never been defeated. This is the reason for the discoloration of the people present. They subconsciously felt that the third generation of Reikage was too strong, but on second thought, isn't the cold light strong? In terms of record, Han Guang can already crush all the most powerful people in the world. Although Hanzo had a frightening record in his early years, he has already lost to Han Guang, so naturally he can't compare. This is the most important point. Lu Han glanced at him and continued, the fact that the mission was attacked alone is not enough for the third generation of Reikage to cancel the duel with me. After all, his son is not dead, as long as the duel goes on as scheduled, so whether we Konoha and Kumogakure will fight or not will be decided by the result of the duel. It will not be affected by other factors. Quote. Everyone whispered, and their eyes on Lu Han changed again. Hangguang is not only strong, courageous, and strategic, but also dedicated to Konoha. Not to mention his previous record, now he is going to fight with Reikage, the third generation of eyes. This brings them to Sarutobi Hiruzen. So many years of fighting in the ninja world, the reason why Konoha did not have a large-scale war with Kumogakure is because Sarutobi Hiruzen, who has duel with Reikage III again and again, never let Reikage take advantage of the third generation. If I mention the election of Hokage now, will they agree? Lu Han thought to himself and glanced at Uchiha Lei Young. Lu Han naturally couldn't propose to choose himself as Hokage, it would be too deliberate, too utilitarian, and would damage his image, and he had already explained to Uchiha Lei Young, and once he got his advice, he would immediately bring this up at the meeting. No, I'm too impatient. Lu Han immediately looked away again. It was still early, Sarutobi Hiruzen had not been missing long enough. Lu Han didn't want to backfire and arouse the vigilance of Kaharu Yuditane and others. Cough. Lu Han cleared his throat and said loudly, I have a senior appointment to announce. Chapter 0690 being watched by the prodigal daughter-in-law. Lu Han does not have senior appointments. Because he is not only not a Hokage, he is not even an agent of Hokage. He is only temporarily acting as a Hokage. For low-level positions, Lu Han can be appointed at will, but high-level positions are not allowed. There are restrictions on this situation. Set up with ambition. At the beginning, Danzo was Hokage's assistant and had ambitions to act as Hokage. And Sarutobi Hiruzen will always leave Konoha for various reasons. Once he leaves, Danzo will temporarily replace the power of Hokage. If there is no restriction, Danzo can appoint cronies to occupy important positions, and even reappoint advisors to make Sarutobi Hiruzen empty, thereby re-establishing the power of Hokage. Election of Hokage, to the top of the Hokage. Now, the original regulations restricting Danzo also restrict Lu Han. Senior appointment. Kaharu Yuditane said immediately, Lord Hangguang, it seems that you don't have this right. Proposal. Lu Han glanced at Kaharu Yuditane, unable to say anything else, and immediately said, in view of the excellent performance of Anbu Captain Hitaki Tsukumo in this plan against Kurigakure and Kumogakure, and the identity of Hitaki Tsukumo has already been exposed, there are other conditions for concurrent positions, so I propose that Anbu Captain Hitaki Tsukumo be added as a senior advisor to Konoha, who is on the Konoha Core Resolution meeting and has the right to impeach Hokage. Quote. It's not just a senior appointment, it's a superlative. In this matter, Lu Han did not have a vote. Consultant. It is possible. Yeah, White Fang is too young. Isn't Lord Hangguang younger? There was a lot of discussion, and no one disagreed with White Fang. At most, I think White Fang, who is in his 20s, is just a little younger, but Lu Han is a precedent. He is Hokage's assistant and the first-ranked high-level advisor. He was appointed by Sarutobi Hiruzen, so age does not matter. Vote. I propose, I agree. Lu Han said directly. Kaharu Yuditane pondered for a while before saying, agree. Homura Mitokado, agreed. Inazuka Tears, agreed. Hyuga Huyang, agreed. Except that Hitaki Tsukumo is a party and has no right to vote, this matter is unanimously approved. Both Kaharu Yuditane and Homura Mitokado knew that White Fang and Hangguang were very close. Both of them were captains of Anbu and had a good personal relationship, but they also considered that White Fang's loyalty to Sarutobi Hiruzen was beyond doubt, and he was the one that Sarutobi Hiruzen trusted the most. The person, White Fang's reputation has always been excellent, and I have never heard that he has ever used power for personal gain, so he expressed his support. At present, there are 4 consultants in Konoha village, namely Lu Han, Kaharu Yuditane, Homura Mitokado, Hyuga Huyang, 4 people are prone to problems, and it is easy to have 2 votes to 2 votes, and White Fang is added to the 5th. A consultant can just solve this problem. In this way, the minority can obey the majority, of course, on the premise that Lu Han does not use the power of 1 vote approval or veto. However, what Kaharu Udatane and Homura Mitokado don't know is that Lu Han made White Fang a consultant to prepare for the selection of Hokage in the future. When it comes to the selection and impeachment of Hokage, it is the advisor who has the most right to speak out. Lu Han has also weighed between White Fang and Inuzuka's tears. In the end, he chose White Fang. Lu Han believed that White Fang was supporting him, and he had no selfishness. At this time, Konoha had no more suitable candidate than Lu Han. Selfishness naturally said otherwise. As for Inuzuka's tears, Lu Han was still not at ease. Besides, Inuzuka Tears has a detached status, and the right to speak is no worse than that of a consultant, and there is no need to send him to the position of consultant. The matter was settled and White Fang became a consultant. Before the meeting ended, Lu Han issued 2 more orders. The first was to spread rumors that Kumogakure had successfully extorted Konoha and spread it to the ninja world. After the meeting, the crowd dispersed. Lu Han and Tsunade first went to visit Xiao Ai, denounced Kurigakure's atrocities in front of Xiao Ai, and promised to write a letter to Lao Ai to explain the matter in person. Then Lu Han returned home and wrote a letter at his desk. To make a full play, Lu Han had to show Lao Ai clearly that he wanted to get rid of his responsibilities. More importantly, this letter would be the key to provoking Lao Ai to attack Kurigakure, and to make Xiao Ai's situation a little more miserable. The anger of Lao Ai jumped further. The mansion in the forest, in the study. Lu Han sat cross-legged on the wooden slump, crouched on the wooden table, and wrote quickly in the scroll. The room was very quiet, only the rustling of writing. Tsunade entered the study with the fruit plate, put the fruit plate down lightly, and looked at her husband who was writing seriously. Tsunade felt proud from the bottom of her heart. This scene will come so early. Han is only 17 years old. Lu Han noticed that Tsunade was coming, but didn't look up. His mind was on the scroll. Tsunade seemed to have remembered something. His face gradually became cold, and he stared at Lu Han. For a long time, seeing Lu Han ignored her, she became a little discouraged. Hair, all kinds of styles, are fully revealed at this moment. She lay on the opposite side of the table, with a blurred look in her eyes, and winked at Lu Han. Lu Han looked up at her, smiled slightly, and immediately lowered his head to write again. Tsunade curled her lips angrily, then got up and walked around behind Lu Han, holding Lu Han in her arms from behind. The aroma lingered on Lu Han. She bowed her head and kissed Lu Han's ear. Extra intimacy. Lu Han had a creepy feeling. He knew Tsunade wasn't the kind of woman who would fool around. There is nothing to be courteous, and it is either a traitor or a thief. What are you doing? Lu Han turned his head sideways and squinted. Tsunade immediately pecked at the corner of Lu Han's lips, and then shook and coquettishly said in a sweet voice, "Who Sir-kun? I heard that you looted the treasure house of Kurigakure village and emptied all the money in it. Can you? Why can't we share it with others? They are so poor." Lu Han suddenly turned into a bitter face. When it was over, he was targeted by the prodigal daughter-in-law. Lu Han understood that if he didn't give it to him, his life would be a mess. 2 days later, outside the northeastern border of the Fire Nation, the Kumogakure camp. Report. Mission and Konoha's information. The sturdy Kurigakure village ninja broke into the meeting tent and hurried to Lao Ai's side. Chapter 0691-I's decision. There are a total of 2 intelligence scrolls, to be precise, 2 handwritten letters, one from Xiao Ai and the other signed Han Guang. Lao Ai suspended the meeting and read Xiao Ai's handwritten letter first. In the letter, Xiao Ai explained the situation on that day in general, and then denounced the audacity of the Kurigakure mission, and claimed that he would personally led someone to attack Kurigakure, hoping his father would allow him. In the end, he naturally drenched Lu Han's blood on his head. He described Lu Han as a shameless, treacherous, shameless villain who pretended to be the strongest. Lao Ai has a steel scale in his heart. He knows that his son is a very emotional person. In fact, before today's meeting, Lao Ai has already received rumors. There are rumors that Konoha has formed an alliance with Kumogakure. The handwritten letter is still fast, so he is mentally prepared. It's just that he didn't expect that Kurigakure would attack the Kumogakure mission because of this. Lao Ai subconsciously thought that there was a conspiracy. But after that, when he saw his son spraying Hangwang, he felt that he thought too much, because Hangwang didn't deny that he deceived Kurigakure, but just said that it was a misunderstanding. People with ghosts in their hearts would not dare to do this. After reading his son's handwritten letter, Lao Ai's face was already black, and he opened the scroll of Reikage personally signed Han Guang. In the letter, Lu Han downplayed that it was a misunderstanding, and then strongly denounced Kurigakure atrocities, and kept emphasizing that this was a conspiracy of Kurigakure. They attacked Kumogakure in order to frame Konoha. As a result, they misestimated the strength of the Kumogakure mission. Failed. Regarding Xiao Ai, Lu Han said that Xiao Ai's injury was too serious, and if it is not treated properly, it may leave sequelae. He also said that his wife Tsunade Grandmaster Medical Ninjutsu, leaving Xiao Ai in Konoha temporarily, so that Lao Ai can rest assured. Finally, Lu Han talked about the duel again, hoping to get an official reply from Lao Ai. Party. Lao Ai directly announced the end of the meeting and returned to the handsome tent. He immediately recruited the Kumogakure ninja who came back to deliver the letter. Kumogakure ninja who came back to deliver the letter, and the messenger sent by Konoha, went on the road together to reach the Kumogakure camp, so the two letters were sent to Lao Ai at the same time. Lao Ai first asked the Kumogakure messenger who came back to deliver the letter in detail about the situation that night. The letter can only give the general situation, and there are not too many details. Lao Ai wants to ask clearly. As a result, as written in Xiao Ai's letter, the Kurigakure mission attacked the Kumogakure mission because Kumogakure was allied with Konoha. Then, Lao Ai summoned the Konoha messenger. Anbu ninja Kato came alone. Facing the famous generation of the strongest old Ai, Kato was still relatively nervous, but the years of tempering in Anbu have made him lose his youthful impetuousness and become more and more calm. Lao Ai asked him some questions, nothing more than, how is my son's injury? How do you Konoha arrange for treatment? Have you ever caught a Kurigakure ninja in the land of fire? And so on. Lao Ai made a side-by-side attack, just to confirm one thing, that is, the Kumogakure mission was attacked by the Kurigakure mission. Is there a conspiracy? Kato Kai did not participate in the action that day, mainly because he did not meet the selection criteria, so he did not know anything about the inside story. He didn't know the inside story, and he knew no more than Lao Ai, so naturally he wouldn't reveal his flaws. Go back and tell Hangwang to treat my son with all your heart. After all, it happened in your country of fire, and you have a great responsibility. If there is another accident, don't blame me for being rude. Lao Ai finally said, waving Kato to break out. Kato was about to leave, but he seemed to remember something, stopped and said, Lord Reikage, about your duel with Lord Hangwang, look. I will send an envoy to Hangwang to explain this matter in person, you don't have to say it anymore. Lao Ai also knew what Kato was thinking, so he didn't promise it right away. Kato was disappointed, but he didn't dare to say more and left. Lao Ai watched Kato Kai walk out of the camp, his face became darker and darker, and finally he couldn't hold back his anger, and snorted coldly, hello, you cold light. Bang! Lao Ai slapped the long table with a slap, and the sawdust suddenly splashed, and the long table was slapped to pieces. Konoha found a reason to hold Xiao Ai, how could Lao Ai not be angry? In fact, Lao Ai is very aware of Lu Han's intention. It is nothing more than asking Lao Ai to confirm the duel immediately. As long as the duel is confirmed, then Konoha's release of rumors can be revealed. Whether it is a war or a peace, the result of the duel shall prevail. In fact, Lao Ai really wanted to fight Lu Han. But he has a feeling of being calculated, and he is extremely upset, and his son is in Konoha's hands, which makes him unable to fight back against Hongguang. Although the two sides are hostile, they have not completely torn their faces. There is still room for maneuver without a large army fighting. Now that Xiao Ai is under control, Lao Ai can't take the initiative to challenge things. After thinking over and over again, Lao Ai invited several cronies who accompanied him to the battle to explain the situation to them. Konoha is so brave. How dare you detain my nephew? Lao Ai's cousin, Imon, who is now 38 years old, said angrily, and that Kurigakure, he really ate the guts of a bear and a leopard. Young master is detained in Konoha. Sam Rocky, another close confidant of Lao Ai, who is nearly 50 years old and tall and thin, frowned and worried. This matter is not easy to handle. Hongguang acts ruthlessly and has no taboos. Why not? Sam Rocky looked at Lao Ai and pondered. I see, I will take someone to go to Konoha in person, and bring out the young master first. After all, the young master is a messenger, and it is expected that Konoha will not dare to let him go. Indeed, we should rescue the young master first, otherwise we will be timid and difficult to act. I'm afraid that Konoha will find reasons to delay it again and again, and he doesn't know how much the young master's injury is. We Kumogakure Grand Master have too few ninjas in medical ninjutsu, and Tsunade's medical skills are well known all over the world and have the name of medical saints. If we can let her treat the young master, it will be better than if we bring the young master back for treatment. Quote. Several of Lao Ai's cronies discussed at length, but couldn't say why. It's not that they couldn't think of a solution, but that it involved Lao Ai's son, Xiao Ai, the successor of Raikage. They were afraid of making a mistake and hurting Xiao Ai. No need to say any more. Lao Ai finally made a final decision. Let's put my son's business aside for a while, we won't move, and Konoha won't dare to mess around. I'll leave the camp for a few days and make Kurigakure pay the price. Chapter 0692 This can't be done. Lao Ai thought very clearly that Konoha did all this and released alliance rumors, nothing more than to coerce Kumogakure to form a real alliance with Konoha. Under this premise, Xiao Ai will never suffer any harm in Konoha. Instead, he will be offered up and receive the best treatment, so he is not in a hurry to rescue his son. Besides, the medical ability of Kumogakure village is indeed not as good as that of Konoha. All he wants to do now is to avenge his son. If Kurigakure dared to stroke the tiger's whiskers, Lao Ai would let them understand what is the wrath of the king. Doing so can also show Konoha that no matter what happens afterward or the outcome of the duel, Kumogakure and Kurigakure are not the same. While I'm away, if there is an emergency, you should discuss it and make up your mind. If it really doesn't work, report the situation to the village and have several consultants hold a meeting to decide. Lao Ai ordered repeatedly. Time flies, another 3 days have passed. About the alliance between Kumogakure and Konoha, and the fact that Hongguang is going to duel with Raikage I, the third generation of Is, are noisy and rumored. These two things are contradictory. In fact, this is also Lu Han's strategy. He made preparations with both hands. If Lao Ai publicly declared that he denied the alliance, the rumors would be self-defeating, but in this case, he could no longer deny the duel. If he denied it, it would give the world a feeling of fear of Konoha and the cold light. Not allied with Konoha and not fighting with the cold light. Are you afraid? Lao Ai will definitely think of this. With such a good face, it is naturally impossible for him to bear the name of a coward. On the other hand, if Lao Ai tacitly agreed to form an alliance, it would naturally be the best result. Konoha and Kumogakure don't have to fight anymore. Kumogakure is also embarrassed, can't tear up the covenant. That is, it is a pity for Lu Han not to be able to fight with Lao Ai. This afternoon, the mansion in the forest. It was only 2 hours after lunch, and there were bursts of unbearable noise from the bedroom, euphemistically, exercise after dinner. In the past few days, Lu Han was so exhausted that he almost collapsed on Tsunade. A few days ago, Lu Han was targeted by Tsunade and was forced to hand over an astronomical amount of money, 500 million taels. Soldier Kumogakure did not ask for money, and Soldier Kurigakure was scolded and walked away. As a result, Lu Han's small treasury was still empty. However, Lu Han was not very at ease with Tsunade. He was afraid that she would lose a big gamble again, so the money was not given to her alone, but was given to her and Hyuga Luoning to supervise together. However, Lu Han made some mistakes, and Tsunade still monopolized the money. Because Hyuga Luoning is not very keen on money, she is the eldest lady of the Hyuga family. She has been pampered since she was a child, and has never been short of money, especially after marrying Lu Han and Tsunade. In fact, she is often better than Hyuga. Luoning is rich, but she always loses all her money and often becomes very poor, so she is obsessed with money. Tsunade, who got the astronomical figure, was elated, but seeing Lu Han seemed very distressed and unhappy, he tried his best to comfort his little husband these days. Lu Han is always responsive, a man can't say no. There was a violent storm, and it returned to calm in a hearty burst. Tsunade was lying in Lu Han's arms, panting, and leaned with Lu Han for a while in a coquettish voice. He beat Lu Han's back and rubbed his waist. Then he got up and put on his clothes, and went to the basement to work on it for a while. After a long time, he sneaked out the door carrying a large burden. She does this every day these days. All the money Lu Han gave her was kept in the basement. She said that she was worried about keeping it at home, because it was too conspicuous for people to know, and she and Lu Han would both go out on assignments, and there was a risk of being stolen, so she shipped the money out in batches. As for where the money she shipped out was hidden, Lu Han didn't know, and didn't want to know. Giving her money is just to make her happy. To Lu Han, this money has little meaning. Too much money is just a number. Even if Tsunade loses all the money, Lu Han doesn't care, just don't lose all of it. Gambling hurts people, it's a bottomless pit. Lu Han didn't want to conflict with Tsunade because of this. Fortunately, Tsunade had a lot of peace after marrying him. There were small bets, but there were not many big bets. Moreover, with Lu Han's status reaching ultimate, no one in Konoha would dare to treat Tsunade as a fat sheep. Lao Ai has not given me any news yet, so I can't help myself. Lu Han lay on the soft collapse and thought about the current situation, then he stood up beating his waist, and he couldn't help but sighed. If it goes on like this, it's not a good idea. It is impossible to die young. Quote. Hyuga Luoning was not at home and went out to visit friends. Among Konoha's large and small factions, it seems that in every tribe, there are female ninjas of the same age as Hyuga Luoning. Lu Han is in power of Konoha, and naturally there are many people who fawn over him. Tsunade with a bad temper, so Hyuga Luoning became the focus of their contact. These days, even the younger Uchiha Makoto has come to visit Hyuga Luoning alone and invited her out to party. Lu Han went out of the house and went to see the reconstruction of the west of the village. The buildings have been rebuilt, but the tree transplants have not been completed. This is an extremely labor-intensive project, and it is also a very necessary project. Konoha is full of woods. The village is the real Konoha. The role of the woods is not only aesthetics. From a strategic point of view, there are trees and forests, which is the main battleground of Konoha ninjas. After inspecting the reconstruction, Lu Han went to Anbu to read the recent information summary, then returned to the west of the village and came to a courtyard with an extremely large area. There are more than 20 ninjas living here, all Kumogakure ninjas, and Anbu and Hyuga ninjas are jointly guarding the courtyard. In the middle of the courtyard, there is a huge open-air training ground. 2 Kumogakure elites, Jonin, and the fight is very fierce. After 5 consecutive days of treatment, Xiaoai's injury has recovered 90%, and the speed of recovery is beyond Tsunade's expectations. Xiaoai, as long as there is no life and death battle, it's not a big problem. This can't be done, the recovery is so fast. Lu Han stood under the shade of the tree and looked at it for a while, then pinched his chin and thought about how to trick Xiaoai again. Chapter 0693_Blame Me. Lu Han stood in the shade of the tree and watched for a long time, without saying a word, and Xiaoai never noticed that Lu Han was coming. He had entered a state of ecstasy in the melee combat with the two elite Jonin. I have to say that stupid people have their own different stupidity, and geniuses are very similar, they are hard-working enough. His legs and hit his knees again and again. Xiaoai finally noticed Lu Han standing under the tree with the corner of his eye, and stopped immediately, and the two elite Jonin also stopped. Down, all tired and panting, covered in beads of sweat. Compared with Xiaoai, their bodies are also sturdy. They are close to 1.9 meters tall, but they are half a head shorter than Xiaoai. They look stronger than Xiaoai, but their muscles are not as firm as Xiaoai's. Xiaoai was only sweating slightly, and they looked extremely tired. On the other side of the field, there were 7 or 8 Kumogakure ninjas on standby, who should take turns to be Xiaoai's sparring. What are you doing here? Xiaoai took the towel from the entourage, wiped her face, and said badly to Lu Han. The more this guy looks at Lu Han, the less he likes to look at, and his anger has not subsided. Every time he sees Lu Han, he doesn't give Lu Han a good face. Lu Han never becomes angry because of it, but always smiles, which also makes Xiaoai not so afraid of Lu Han. He is not afraid, it does not mean that other Kumogakure ninjas are not afraid. Han Guang's reputation is too fierce, so every time Lu Han comes to see Xiaoai, Xiaoai makes a rude remark, and those Kumogakure ninjas will be a little nervous, for fear of conflict. The group of them tied together is not enough for Lu Han to fight alone. It seems that you are recovering well, Lu Han said quietly, holding the handle of the knife in his hand, and walked towards Xiaoai. Xiaoai glared at Lu Han. Lord Cold Light. Lord Hangguang, you have something to say. Young master is young and vigorous, don't take offense. Hoo. Several figures flashed in front of Xiaoai, blocking Xiaoai tightly, as if afraid that Lu Han would cut Xiaoai with a knife. Don't be nervous. Lu Han stopped, looked at Xiaoai, who was an expert, and then took off the sword of frightening Hong Kong from his waist, and threw it back into the space backpack. It seemed that it disappeared out of thin air. You guys, what are you afraid of? Get out of the way. I see what he dares to do to me. Xiaoai angrily took a few steps towards Lu Han, pulling aside all the Kumogakure ninjas who were standing in front of him. Master, don't be impulsive. Master, calm down, your injury is not healed yet. All the Kumogakure ninjas persuaded Xiaoai for a while. At the same time, Lu Han had already taken off all the weapons on his body, threw them back into the space backpack, and rolled up his sleeves again, and then said aloud, "Actually, I'm here to apologize." The surroundings suddenly fell silent, and Xiaoai and the other Kumogakure ninjas all looked at Lu Han. Apologize. Lu Han spread his hands and said to Xiaoai, I know you are not happy, on the one hand, because I punched you away and you were not convinced, on the other hand, because you were attacked, has something to do with me. Xiaoai's face suddenly turned to Yuhi, and Lu Han said that he was knocked flying with a punch. What a shame. So I'm going to apologize to you. Lu Han continued, I'll give you a chance now, come and hit me, come and come, I promise not to fight back, hit you until your anger is gone. Xiaoai was stunned. Other Kumogakure ninjas all showed incredible expressions. In order to calm down his young master, Han Guang actually condescended to be a human flesh bag. You said it. You can't fight back. Xiaoai excitedly took a few steps towards Lu Han and moved her arms at the same time. There are so many people here, but they all heard it, you can't go back on your word. Of course, I promise not to fight back. Lu Han smiled slightly. Several figures appeared on the roof in the north of the courtyard, on the house in the south, under the corners of the surrounding walls and under the shade of the trees. All of them were Konoha Anbu ninjas, who came out to watch the excitement when they heard the movement. Everyone heard it. Han Guang said he didn't fight back, he did it of his own accord. Xiaoai shouted to the surrounding, seeing more and more people watching. Xiaoai looked at Lu Han again and raised a fist the size of a casserole. Shaking at Lu Han, you asked for it yourself. Call _. Xiaoai is strong, but not slow. She almost blinked her eyes and rushed to Lu Han, punching Lu Han's cheek. His face was full of excitement, thinking that he was about to punch Han Guang out, almost drunk. Lu Han could see all of Xiao Ai's movements clearly. He was used to fighting at a super fast pace, so Xiao Ai's movements were really too slow in his eyes. Xiao Ai slammed a punch, and Lu Han instantly ducked back. Xiao Ai's face changed, and she changed her moves in an instant, slamming her elbows. Lu Han's lower body didn't move, his upper body flickered to dodge. Xiao Ai's long legs were like whips, and he attacked Lu Han's waist with a deafening whistling sound. The attack range of one move was large. Lu Han had to bully himself closer to Xiao Ai, and then swayed and dodged. With a stormy attack, Xiao Ai inherited the fighting characteristics of Lao Ai. The attack force is heavy, more than calm, and lacks changes. Of course, because his strength has reached a certain level, in the eyes of others, his attack is still fast. With his fingers, he seemed to have 17 or 8 hands and feet, and violently attacked Lu Han. But he still couldn't touch Lu Han's clothes. Lu Han is like a small boat in the raging sea, walking with the wind, swaying with the waves, dodging, just dodging. Let Xiao Ai attack, all dodged. Whether it was Kumogakure or Anbu Ninja, we're all stunned. Among the people present, Lu Han was the first and Xiao Ai was the second. Therefore, in their eyes, Xiao Ai's strength was terrifying. After attacking for a moment, Xiao Ai stopped abruptly, stared at Lu Han and shouted, "Didn't you say let me fight?" "Yes, but I didn't say no to hide, I just said no to fight back." "You can't hit me, do you blame me?" Lu Han raised an eyebrow at Xiao Ai, full of provocation. Xiao Ai couldn't be excited, and suddenly roared, and the violent chakra fluctuations in the whole body erupted. Before, Xiao Ai didn't use chakra. He was afraid that he would kill people, but now he was so stimulated by Lu Han that he didn't care so much. His whole body burst into blue light, and he used the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode to attack Lu Han even more. Brutal attack. Chapter 0694 The dead man is calculating again. Lu Han didn't dare to trust him. The current Xiao Ai has the strength of a level 50 gold boss, the top super elite Jonin. It's better if he doesn't need chakra. He can use him to show his full strength. Lu Han doesn't want to be true of being beaten. Continuing to switch chakras, Lu Han's movements became more agile. Facing Xiao Ai's brutal attack, Lu Han still managed to dodge everything. After all, there is a huge gap between Xiao Ai's strength and Lu Han. Although he is good at melee combat, Lu Han is good at speed and super agility. If 3 Xiao Ai or 2 Xiao Ai are besieging, Lu Han will not be able to do this. Calmly dodge, however, Xiao Ai has only 1. There were real exclamations around them. They were amazed at Xiao Ai's attack power when the injury was not healed, and they were even more amazed at Lu Han Bianyi Buji's dodging ability. "You're playing with me." The less I couldn't reach Lu Han, the more anxious she became, and she roared in embarrassment. "I'm just kidding you," Lu Han replied lightly, and the excited Xiao Ai almost vomited blood. "Damn, you forced me," Xiao Ai roared wildly. At this moment, his speed increased sharply, the ground under his feet burst, and he rushed to Lu Han, and his knees hit fiercely. Recurrent storm. At this moment, all the Anbu ninjas sweated for Lu Han, because it seemed that they could not escape. Lu Han has many abilities that cannot be used, and it is indeed difficult to dodge this blow, but Lu Han didn't want to dodge at all, but he saw his arms crossed in front of him, and he supported his body with one foot. Boom! The terrifying shock wave swept across the courtyard, and the ground was thrown open by the violent air current. The onlookers who were closer had to retreat and dodge. The ground under Lu Han's feet sank abruptly a foot, and the cracks were full of cracks. But Lu Han didn't step back, and Xiao Ai didn't move forward either. The two maintained the attitude of one attack and one defense until the shock wave disappeared. Compared with the thin Lu Han, Xiao Ai's strong body was like a gorilla and a monkey. "It's really fierce," Lu Han said while biting Kiba. His arms were already numb, and because he couldn't fight back, he could only defend himself with the power of Teishu and strange power. Without the blessing of strange power, his arms can't be broken. A look of pain appeared on Xiao Ai's face, and then with a poof, she raised her head to spurt blood, and fell backwards to the ground. Internal injury. Xiao Ai's blow did not achieve the effect of breaking, and the anti-shock force was extremely strong. It was like an ordinary person hitting a brick with his hand. If he broke the brick, his hand would be fine. If it didn't break, bricks continue, and the hand is likely to be fractured. In the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode, Xiao Ai will definitely not break his hand, but he has an injury in his body, and the anti-shock force is enough to tear the wound that has healed up again. Master! Master! Were screams around, and finally the Kumogakure ninja ran to Xiao Ai. Tisk tisk, I vomited blood when I beat me, I just defended it. Lu Han teased, put his arms down, and shook his numb forearms vaguely. You, Xiao Ai sat up in shock and glared at Lu Han, but she was furious, spit out blood again, and fell back down. After finishing the work, Lu Han walked away. It seems that this apology was unsuccessful. You are welcome to come to me at any time. I will give you a chance to hit me. Lu Han's voice drifted away. The gate of the courtyard, Lu Han summoned Anbu Ninja who was in charge of the guard, and whispered, if Xiao Ai wants to leave here to find me, don't stop him. Yes, the Anbu Ninja respectfully obeyed. Lu Han first went to the Hokage building for a walk, listened to the reconstruction progress report in the west of the village, and discussed the details with Kaharu Udatane and Homura Mitokado on the plan to destroy the black market. Lu Han did not return home until nightfall. House is already fragrant. Hyuga Luo Ning and Uzumaki Kushina have already gone home, and have prepared dinner, waiting for Lu Han to come back for dinner. Where's Tsunade? When Lu Han found that Tsunade wasn't there, he was a little worried. Wouldn't he be gambling? Immediately opened the insight map to check, but the results surprised him. I was invited by the Kumogakure mission. Hyuga Luo Ning said. Understood. Lu Han nodded. Let's have dinner. No wait. It wasn't until dinner was almost over that Tsunade returned in a hurry. When he saw Lu Han, he was Byakugan for a while, and said angrily, you are trying to plot against Xiao Ai again, so I have to go to heal him at night. Tsunade, who has the name of the medical saint, is quite respected, and Tsunade doesn't feel bad for Xiao Ai, who is upright. Lu Han smiled. Others might not know what Lu Han was thinking, but Tsunade could definitely guess it, because Lu Han had told her not to cure Xiao Ai's injury prematurely. The next day, early in the morning, Lu Han was woken up by the loud roars outside the window. He sat up between Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning with a wry smile on his face. He was disturbed by others, and he committed his own sin. The mansion in the forest, in the yard. Cold light, come out, cold light, Xiao Ai shouted, pulling her neck, and the Anbu ninja who was in charge of daily protection had already appeared, standing around the yard, looking at Xiao Ai with cold eyes. If it wasn't for Lu Han who told him to leave this situation alone, they would have done something to Xiao Ai long ago. Xiao Ai shouted loudly in the yard for a while, and Lu Han, who was neatly dressed, quietly appeared behind him, reached out and patted his back. Xiao Ai was startled, turned around and punched, and Lu Han jumped to dodge. Bastard, you're playing with me, Xiao Ai glared at Lu Han. The so-called enemy met Yuhi, but Xiao Ai didn't talk nonsense. Like a hungry tiger rushing towards food, she launched a violent attack on Lu Han. A familiar scene. Lu Han dodged left and right to prevent Xiao Ai from hitting him. Xiao Ai seemed to have learned to be smart. Although he turned on the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode, he didn't make any big moves on Lu Han, but just used regular punches and kicks to attack. Hyuga Luo Ning in a nightgown looked out, jumping and screaming, Sister! Sister! Come on, they are fighting. Don't worry, that dead man is playing tricks again, hum. Tsunade rolled over on the soft slump, finished humming, and continued to sleep with his head covered. Tsunade didn't know what Lu Han's ultimate goal was. But with what she knew about Lu Han, she understood that Xiao Ai would definitely be tricked again. Chapter 0695_Knowing Me, Tsunade also. In the yard, Lu Han hid from Xiao Ai for half an hour, and then realized that Xiao Ai really has a very smart side. He looked like he was coming in a rage, as if he would not give up until Lu Han was hit. In fact, he was using Lu Han as a sparring partner. Being able to use a ninja of Lu Han's level as a sparring partner is considered unique. Even Lao Ai couldn't accompany Xiao Ai to fight like this. After all, it would be disgraceful for Lao Su to be chased and beaten by his son. Hey, Han Guang, I'll use you to hone my fists and feet. Hide, hide, hide as much as you like. Xiao Ai attacked Lu Han madly, with a subtle treacherous flash in his eyes. Idiot, I can't ask for it. Lu Han sneered in his heart, as if he knew what Xiao Ai was thinking. Xiao Ai can never imagine that what he is doing now is in the middle of Lu Han's arms. The two fought from early morning to noon, and there was a break during the period, but they were forced to. The administrative department sent documents for Lu Han to sign, and Lu Han had to stop. Fight, fight, good. Idiot, I didn't hit again, it's too stupid. Uzumaki Kushina, who had finished the morning patrol mission, had already returned, sitting on a small stool under the shade of a tree, nibbling on melon seeds while judging the two who were fighting each other. Lunch is ready, it's time to eat, don't fight. Tsunade appeared at the door of the main building, greeted Lu Han a few times, and looked at Uzumaki Kushina again. Have some snacks again. Kushina stuck out her tongue, got up and ran towards the main building. Both Lu Han and Xiao Ai stopped, and both of them were gasping for breath, but Lu Han just felt a little tired, while Xiao Ai was covered in sweat and breathing heavily. Humph, I'll be here again in the afternoon. Xiao Ai snorted coldly, turned around and left. Xiao Ai, stay and eat together. Tsunade called from the door. Ah, Xiao Ai subconsciously turned around for a moment, then scratched the back of her head embarrassedly. Then why are you embarrassed? Let's come together. Tsunade beckoned to Xiao Ai, who was 7 years older than Xiao Ai, but seemed to be a kind elder. I just made some more. After dinner, I'll check your injury by the way. Well, then I'm welcome, thank you Tsunade-sama. Hungry Xiao Ai could smell the aroma of the food. Tsunade invited him warmly, and he agreed. Immediately, without even looking at Lu Han, he strode towards the main building. Lu Han groaned in his heart, who is the head of the family? Xiao Ai walked fast, went in first, Lu Han followed behind, and then walked to the dining table. When she heard Uzumaki Kushina say, HMPH, I can't hit it all at once, so stupid, so stupid. Xiao Ai glared at Uzumaki Kushina, but said nothing. He would not care about a little girl like Kushina. However, Lu Han was very rude. He slapped Kushina on the back of the head and said quietly, who are you from? You are very happy when he hit me. That's not what they meant. Kushina immediately acted coquettishly at Lu Han. Lu Han's slap on the back of her head wasn't heavy. She knew that Lu Han wasn't really angry. Lunch. As a guest, Xiao Ai was very cautious and didn't dare to eat hasai, but after Tsunade said, you can eat as much as you want, there are more, many times, he threw off his cheeks and started to eat. Lu Han raised his finger at Tsunade quietly. He really wanted to say, those who know me, Tsunade too. In fact, Lu Han also planned to let Xiao Ai have lunch together, but not today, but tomorrow. Lu Han was afraid that it would be too abrupt and arouse Xiao Ai's suspicion, but Tsunade did not expect it to be done directly. Tsunade gave Lu Han an angry look. She had already thought about Lu Han's thoughts, so she took the initiative to cooperate. After lunch, Tsunade checked Xiao Ai's injuries. Xiao Ai's vitality is unbelievably strong, which is why his recovery speed is beyond Tsunade's expectations, and this morning's fight, Xiao Ai's injury does not tend to worsen. Internal injury effects. Afternoon, Uzumaki Kushina went on a patrol mission. Hyuga Luo Ning went out to visit friends. Tsunade secretly shipped money out, and Lu Han continued to be a sparring trainer for Xiao Ai. At present, the rumors in the ninja world about the duel between Hengguang General and the third generation of Raikage are intensifying. Many forces regard this as a turning point in the war of the ninja world. There is no war in the outside world, and Lu Han is also rarely relaxed. All afternoon, no one came to disturb Lu Han. The two fought until dusk. Xiao Ai made an excuse to leave. Before parting, Lu Han kept looking for Kiba and never gave up. Another day, when the genius had just been polished, Xiao-ai came to find Lu Han. So, 3 days passed. The past few days, at the behest of Lu Han, there were many onlookers in the battle between Xiao-ai and Lu Han, Kumogakure Jonin, Elite Jonin, Might Dai and other Anbu ninjas, as well as several ninjas from the Hyuga clan, including Hyuga Hiyashi and Hyuga Hazashi. They originally came to watch the fun, but then it became a study. Learn how Xiao-ai fights and how Lu Han hides. In fact, dodging Xiao-ai's attack is also a kind of training for Lu Han, and dodging skills are also an extremely important ability for ninjas. Compared with the Faceless Man, Lu Han dodged Xiao-ai's attack, not a how easy it is. Lu Han has limited his ability. He can fight with the Faceless Man, but facing Xiao-ai, he can only hide. Xiao-ai returned to Konoha with an injury was also the 4th day that he fought Lu Han. This morning. You're wrong, it's been a few days, why haven't you made any progress at all? Lu Han dodged Xiao-ai's attack and said, the punches are powerful, but they can't be retracted freely, you can lighten your punches, more changes. Xiao-ai didn't listen to Lu Han at all and continued to attack. Are you stupid? I told you that you were wrong. If you are like this, you will never hit me in your life. Lu Han said again. Xiao-ai suddenly stopped the attack, stared at Lu Han, thought for a while, and launched the mad attack again. This time, he learned to be smarter. With a little less punching power and more moves, the situation changed suddenly, and it became more difficult for Lu Han to dodge. Yes, that's it, you can hit a heavy punch here, yes. A left hook. Lu Han frequently pointed out, as if Xiao-ai couldn't hit him, he was uncomfortable. Chapter 0696 Lu Han's Purpose. Xiao-ai is worthy of the name of a super genius, and he knows it all at once. After tasting the sweetness of changing moves, he recognizes Lu Han's advice. Anyway, it is not shameful to be directed by a superpower like Lu Han. Lu Han was just asking for trouble, but he was enjoying it. And what Lu Han has to do is to lead Xiao-ai on the correct path of cultivation. In the original work, the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode of the 3rd generation Raikage Laowai is known for its defense and strength, while the 4th generation Raikage Xiao-ai is known for its speed. In other words, Xiao-ai is more talented in speed. And now, Xiao-ai in this world is only 18 years old. He was deeply influenced by his father, Lao-ai. He copied his father's growth path and has not yet walked out of his own path of cultivation. Perhaps, he will have to wait until he is in his 20s and his strength has grown to a certain height before he realizes the path he should take. Now Lu Han wants to take him on the road that is more suitable for him in advance. As long as he guides him enough and makes Xiao-ai realize his talent in speed, Lu Han will be more likely to achieve his goal. Lao-ai is not suitable for teaching Xiao-ai. If Xiao-ai's talent is not too high, Lao-ai's teaching will definitely delay Xiao-ai's growth. Xiao-ai's talent is speed. The basic ability that Lu Han is best at is speed. He wants to take Xiao-ai as his apprentice. Wrong. You have to know that your purpose now is to hit me. Don't care if you can hurt me or not, hit me first. Quicker, faster, you're throwing your fist with all your strength. Too much power, too much inertia, not enough change. It's not that you don't have to work hard. With your power, even if you only use half of it, it's enough to break the mountains and rubble, not to mention you don't need to reduce that much. Do you understand what I'm saying? Prejudgment. Do you understand prejudgment? Increase the speed without evenly distributing the power of the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode throughout the body, and I won't hit you. What are you afraid of? Throughout the morning, Lu Han's pointing voice did not stop in the courtyard, and the onlookers seemed to have benefited a lot. Lu Han's fighting style was honed in life and death struggles. Although what he said was simple and easy to understand, however, they all pointed to the key points. Most of the onlookers were taijutsu ninjas. After listening to them, they felt a sense of suddenness. However, Lu Han felt that he had misunderstood his children. After all, not all ninjas are made for speed. So, after another day, Lu Han ordered Anbu to seal off the courtyard, and no one except Might Dai was allowed to watch. On this day, there are still 4 days left before Lu Han and the 3rd generation of Reikage duel. This afternoon, Xiao Ai attacked Lu Han wildly. He changed. He became faster and more frequent. However, the attack power was weakened accordingly. Xiao Ai was originally a speed master talent, so the transformation was very natural. Very quickly, Lu Han officially entered the rhythm of being beaten. He pointed out that Xiao Ai could already hit him, and Lu Han couldn't dodge all Xiao Ai's attacks, so he would use elbows, knees, fists and feet to block and defend from time to time. This made Xiao Ai excited to ultimate. He can hit it. Therefore, he regards Lu Han's guidance as a golden rule. He will fight whatever Lu Han asks him to do. He doesn't care what Lu Han's guidance means to him, as long as his strength can increase, that's enough. In the courtyard, both Xiao Ai and Lu Han turned into glimpses, and the bang bang sound of fisting to the flesh was endless. Might Dai squatted on the tree and watched intently. His ability to open 7 doors surpasses Xiao Ai, but in terms of skills and other aspects, he is not as good as Xiao Ai. White Fang, who had nothing to do, was under the tree, leaning against the tree and watching the two of them. He didn't know what Lu Han was thinking. Why did he teach the son of Reikage, the 3rd generation of eyes? To put it mildly, this is Lu Han's private matter, and others have no right to interfere. But seriously speaking, this is capitalizing the enemy. The Kumogakure ninja to be stronger. In the future, Kumogakure and Konoha will face each other on the battlefield, but Konoha will be hurt. Call. A whirlwind suddenly swirled around White Fang, and an Anbu ninja appeared out of thin air and said eagerly, "Emergency information." He handed the information scroll to White Fang. Judging from the mark on the scroll, it was a message from the country of Vortex. Kurigakure finally started. White Fang frowned suddenly, opened the scroll, and then widened his eyes. Han, urgent information. White Fang immediately shouted and flashed in the field. Lu Han retreated and distanced himself from Xiao Ai. White Fang came over and handed him the scroll. Lu Han opened the scroll and looked at it. His eyes widened immediately, and he immediately shouted, "Notify the meeting." White Fang leaves and arranges for someone to notify the ninjas who are eligible for the meeting. Lu Han was about to leave, but he glanced at Xiao Ai and the contents on the scroll. After thinking for a while, he walked quickly to the main building. In the main building, Tsunade and Hyuga Luo Ning sat opposite each other, and in the middle was a table with a large and a small pile of gold coins. Most of them belonged to Hyuga Luo Ning, and less of them belonged to Tsunade. The two were gambling money. Tsunade lost badly, but she didn't care, and there was no sign of losing. Yuhi's eyes, holding the dice clock, was shaking. "Stop playing." Lu Han hurried over, pulled Tsunade off the gaming table, showed her the latest information, and then whispered, "I'll go to a meeting in a while, you are like this. This way. Understand?" Trick him again. Tsunade squinted at Lu Han. Lu Han shrugged his shoulders. Can't you change your calculations?" Tsunade poked Lu Han's forehead with his finger angrily. Lu Han smiled, hugged and kissed Tsunade's cheek, then went to kiss Hyuga Luo Ning's forehead, and then left. Not long after. Konoha's 3rd meeting room. Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, Hyuga Huyung, Uchiha Leyoung, Inazuka Lei, Hitaki Sakumo and others were all present. Seeing that everyone was there, Lu Han took out the scroll and handed it over to everyone for circulation. "Look at them all. Intelligence. 1 day and 2 nights ago, Reikage I, the 3rd generation head, appeared in the country of vortexes and entered the base of the 1st main battle army of Kurigakure alone. After a bloody battle for half a day, he killed more than 3,000 ninjas from the 1st army of Kurigakure, killing nearly 1,000 people, and the rest. They were all wounded, and they themselves were wounded, and they fled away without a trace." Chapter 0697_Runaway Old Eye. When everyone saw the information, they were all discolored and shocked. The important part of this piece of information is not what happened to Kurigakure, but Lao Ai, he is injured. At the same time, everyone also saw Lao Ai's fierceness. Compared with the day when Lu Han defeated Kurigakure village, Lao Ai's record was not much better. Although there were many masters in Kurigakure village, Lu Han killed many people by means of tricks, and Kurigakure village just killed a lot of people. After experiencing civil strife, people are unstable, there is no clear leader, and the command is not strong enough, which is prone to chaos. The Kurigakure First Main Battle Army is the strongest army in Kurigakure that has been stationed abroad all the year round. Legion ninjas are good at cooperating. Commanding Hai Zanyang, he is a strong man in the Megatron ninja world. Zanyang's profile and deduced that his strength should be between the level 60 white silver boss and the level 60 gold boss. Ninja, with such a big master in the formation, coupled with the cooperation of the Legion, even the old I Chang's pervert will be in big trouble. Compared with Lu Han, Lao Ai does not have the technique of Hiraishin, so it is easy to be surrounded. Hundreds of ninjutsu hit him at the same time. He can dodge if he can, but if he can't dodge, he can only use Raiden Thunder style chakra mode. When it comes to the killing ability on the battlefield, the entire ninja world is no stronger than Lu Han. Not even Lao Ai. Taijutsu ninjas are not good at group attack, even a superpower like Lao Ai. But that's it, Lao Ai still managed to break through the camp. After a bloody battle for half a day, he defeated the first main battle army of Kurigakure. If Lao Ai had to use an adjective to describe Lao Ai, it would only be nuclear weapons. Lao Ai was alone, hanging the strongest army of Kurigakure as the nuclear weapon in the War of Ninja. Of course, Lu Han is also a small nuclear bomb. He has blown it once at Kurigakure, and Lao Ai blew it again. Ai is really resolute. In order to avenge his son, he really fought his life. Kaharu Udatane praised and looked at Lu Han again. Is this also part of Lord Hengguang's plan? That's it. Lu Han said, I know that with Ai's temper, I will definitely take revenge on Kurigakure, but I didn't expect it to come so quickly and directly. I don't know how badly he was injured. Homura Mitokado frowned slightly. If the injury is too serious, the duel in a few days will probably be cancelled. Probably not. Lu Han shook his head. At most, it's just an extension. It's impossible to cancel. The information only said that I was injured. If it was a serious injury, it should be written. Lu Han didn't say anything. The reason why Lu Han was sure that Lao Ai was not seriously injured was because he knew Lao Ai's future achievements. Only 3,000 people were killed. The old Ai in the original book died of exhaustion during the Third Ninja World War, but he was exhausted in a bloody battle for 3 days and 3 nights. Note that he died of exhaustion from chakra exhaustion, not from serious injuries. So Lu Han concluded that Lao Ai was by no means seriously injured, otherwise he would not have the ability to defeat 10,000 in the future. The atmosphere of this meeting was very relaxed, because intelligence was good news. Whether it was Kurigakure being hit again, or Lao Ai being injured, it was a good thing for Konoha. Lu Han held the meeting for only one purpose, not to discuss anything, but it is to let Kaharu Udatane and others understand that Hongguang's strategy has worked. A mansion in the forest, a courtyard full of potholes. Lu Han had been away for a while, and Xiao Ai was impatient, wandering in the yard bored. Idle is also idle, let's learn from each other. Tsunade, who put on a ninja suit, walked out of the main building and said with a smile. Xiao Ai was stunned for a moment, then her face was very unnatural. Sir Tsunade, this is not very good, you are a medical ninja. In case you are injured, I am afraid. Tsunade is also a taijutsu ninja, but because of her reputation as a medical saint this year, and every mission is with Jiraiya and Orochimaru, the world has ignored her taijutsu ability. You hurt me. Tsunade squinted her eyes. She couldn't bear her violent temper. Little boy, when I killed the enemy for the first time, you were still breastfeeding and looked down on me. Xiao Ai suddenly turned Yuhi's face. In fact, Tsunade is telling the truth. Tsunade has already started to go out when he was 7 or 8 years old, and Xiao Ai was only born at that time, but this is hard to say, and it is quite harsh. Xiao Ai respects Tsunade very much, because Tsunade heals his wounds, is the granddaughter of Senju Hashirama, the god of ninja, and the wife of Hangguang, the killing god. The fame and status are not comparable to Xiao Ai. After all, she was ridiculed, and Xiao Ai could only hold her neck and say, I don't hit women. Yo, you look down on women. Tsunade took a few steps closer and rolled up his sleeves. You've been chasing and beating my husband for so many days, and now my husband can't play with you for business. I'll meet you when I come. Why? Afraid of losing face to a woman. Quick, something happened. Come here. Then a dozen Anbu ninjas showed up around the courtyard. They were not here to watch the fun, but were a little nervous. They were about to fight. They were worried that Tsunade would be injured. If Tsunade was injured at home, they would not be able to protect them well. Hangguang had to peel off their skin when he came back. What they didn't know was that all of this was instructed by Lu Han. You, don't deceive people too much. Xiao Ai was already anxious. I respect you for healing me, don't force me. It's just a discussion, what are you afraid of? Tsunade raised his eyebrows. Don't worry, if I really hurt you, I will never hold you accountable. You said it. I said so. Then, don't blame me. A terrifying chakra fluctuation suddenly rose from Xiao Ai's body, blue light lingered all over her body, and lightning flashed. Ha! Tsunade sneered, and it exploded in an instant. The ground under his feet exploded, and he rushed in front of Xiao Ai. The two sides fought with each other for more than 30 moves. Tsunade finally broke out and punched with all his strength and power, and Xiao Ai slammed Tsunade with Chongliu. Fists and elbows collided. Xiao Ai was shocked, stared at Tsunade incredulously, and flew out backwards. He flew straight out of the yard. Chapter 0698_Tragic Xiao Ai. The ninjas in the yard were stunned, and there was silence for a while. Huh! Tsunade let out a long sigh, and a burst of guilt suddenly rose in her heart. With her comprehensive strength as a level 60 white silver boss, even if the medical ninjutsu part is deducted, it is enough to beat a 50-level gold boss. What's more, Xiao Ai underestimated Tsunade's strength, and didn't dare to use his full strength, and you must know that the strange power of physique was carried forward in her hands, and her chakra volume was no less than Lu Han. Tsunade quickly defeated Xiao Ai. And even if Xiao Ai's activated body defense is amazing, she's probably injured a lot in this attack. This is Lu Han's purpose. Let Tsunade hurt Xiao Ai. Lu Han is no longer good at hurting Xiao Ai, because Xiao Ai has learned to be smart and doesn't want to make big moves on Lu Han. Originally, Xiao Ai's injury has almost recovered today. It is estimated that he will leave Konoha tomorrow. Lu Han also planned to let him go. He was going to duel with Lao Ai, so he should go back too. But suddenly he got the information that Lao Ai was injured, which made Lu Han realize that the duel might be postponed, so Lu Han wanted to let Xiao Ai stay for a while and get closer to him, but there was no sufficient reason for Xiao Ai to stay. Lu Han made this decision. Han, can't you change your mind? Tsunade muttered something, sighed, and returned to the main building, and there was a commotion in the courtyard. Wow, Tsunade-sama is so powerful. Taijutsu. Master Tsunade's accomplishments in taijutsu are no less than medical ninjutsu. I didn't expect it. I thought Tsunade-sama was protected by Jiraiya-sama and Orochimaru-sama. The Anbu ninjas talked for a while, then dispersed and hid in various places in the forest mansion. Might Dai was left in the clear. Squeak. The door of the courtyard was pushed open, and the disgraced Xiao Ai entered the door with an aggrieved expression on his face. His face was pale, and there were bloodstains on the corners of his mouth. The injury immediately becomes a major injury. Xiao Ai felt that she had never been so unlucky. Since the encounter with the cold light, everything has changed. Being punched by Han Guang, attacked by Kurigakure, and punched by Han Guang's wife Tsunade, Xiao Ai is not a superstitious person, but now he has the urge to pray to God. Is he cursed? Otherwise, how could it be so unlucky? Tsunade, why is she so strong? When Xiao Ai came back, no one paid any attention to him. Tsunade had just finished beating him, so naturally, it would be too hypocritical to talk about healing him right away. Aside from Xiao Ai in the yard, there is Might Dai squatting on a tree. Since Lu Han gave Might Dai the right to practice at will when he is not on duty, he does not need to be on call, so he is very free. He is still waiting for Han Guang to come back, to see Han Guang and Xiao Ai fight. The more Xiao Ai thought about it, the more it grieved her. She glared at Yuhi and looked around. There was no one else, only Might Dai. Although Might Dai was wearing a mask, he remembered Might Dai's figure and knew that Might Dai was from before. Konoha Anbu ninja who travels with Han Guang to Kumogakure. It's you. You Ten are here to watch us fight. Are you a taijutsu ninja? Xiao Ai stared at Might Dai as if she had found a punching bag. Yeah, Might Dai nodded to Xiao Ai. Okay, come here. Xiao Ai beckoned to Might Dai, let's make a gesture. Huh, Might Dai froze for a moment, then looked strangely, are you sure? Of course, come here. Xiao Ai wanted to vent, thinking that the ninja who could be sent together with Han Guang should not be weak. Come. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, just practice. I am happy to accompany you. Might Dai said nothing, jumped off the tree, and walked slowly towards Xiao Ai. That's it, I won't bully you. We will come as you say, and I don't want to accidentally hurt you. Xiao Ai said in a stern voice. Don't use it, come with all your strength. Might Dai said. Oh, Xiao Ai was surprised and looked at Might Dai up and down. Might Dai was taller and stronger than the average person, but he was not in the same order of magnitude as Xiao Abi. I didn't see it, he was still a master, so I'll do my best. Might Dai nodded. Xiao Ai was shocked and entered the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode. Might Dai was also shocked, and the air flowed violently to the ultimate. The space seemed to be torn apart. Out of Kiba's tailed beast, the breath made Xiao Ai feel palpitations. 7 Might Dai, the strength is comparable to the level 60 white silver boss. It's really a master. Xiao Ai was extremely excited, he was afraid that Might Dai was not strong enough, so he wouldn't be able to vent. The two jumped at the same time. A loud bang resounded over Konoha like thunder. Xiao Ai spewed blood and flew out of the courtyard, with a hopeless expression on her face, and slammed into the woods. He doesn't understand. Why find a pervert who is stronger than anyone? Even if the cold light is strong, cold light is a monster. I also recognize his daughter-in-law as strong. After all, there is a strong husband of pervert, who is also the granddaughter of the god of ninja world. But why is he so strong? Why? What is this for? Tragedy. When Xiao Ai limped back to the yard again, Might Dai had already returned to the tree, squatting there in an indecent manner without saying a word. Ji Yujing Wubo was calm as if what happened before had nothing to do with him. Xiao Ai avoided Might Dai's eyes. He was severely injured twice in a row. His injuries were extremely serious. On the sky. He felt that he should reflect on his own life. Lu Han came back from the meeting and saw Xiao Ai lying on the ground half-crippled thinking about life. He felt that something was wrong. Tsunade came out of the building and talked about the situation. Lu Han was surprised, and berated Tsunade and Might Dai for their inhumane behavior. Might Dai drooped his head, admitted his mistake, and didn't speak. Tsunade cooperated with Lu Han, sincerely apologized to Xiao Ai, and used S-level medical ninjutsu to heal Xiao Ai. Injury was more than half healed by Tsunade, jumped up directly, as if she had figured out something, and excitedly said to Lu Han, I want to become stronger. I want to become stronger. Let's come, you teach me to become stronger. Chapter 0699_Steel. The blows Xiao Ai has suffered in his life are not as big as those added in the past few days. When he was in Kumogakure village, unless Lao Ai often beat him, other ninjas almost held him up for 2 reasons. 1. It is that he is Lao Ai's son, and the second is that Xiao Ai has shown astonishing talent since childhood, and his future achievements will never be lower than Lao Ai, which is already recognized. Because of this, Xiao Ai became the only successor to Raikage's position, not by the old Ai, but by the unanimous approval of Kumogakure. Growing up in this environment, Xiao Ai has not experienced many setbacks, and his talent is indeed pervert. Whether it is fighting against others on a daily basis or killing enemies on the front line, he has very few failures. Such life experience has created Xiao Ai's unwillingness to admit defeat, or a competitive character. Xiao Ai once believed that she was the darling of God and the next god of ninja. Totally unexpected. Since coming to Konoha, all the wonderful fantasies that Xiao Ina had made about the future have all been destroyed by reality. But Xiao Ai still refuses to admit defeat. Various setbacks did not destroy his will, but made his desire to become stronger even higher. Teach me, I want to become stronger. Xiao Ai shouted excitedly, taking a few steps forward, trying to grab Lu Han's shoulder. Lu Han dodged Xiao Ai Ku's big fan-like hand, distanced himself from Xiao Ai, and squinted. I won't teach you, you are a Kumogakure ninja, I am a Konoha ninja, we are not the same people, you give up. Tsunade looked at Lu Han in surprise. Isn't that what he meant? Why didn't he agree? Lu Han naturally wouldn't tell Tsunade that it was his hard-to-find plan. If I promise Xiao Ai now, Xiao Ai will definitely not be a teacher. Unless you lose your mind and go crazy, you will never recognize Lu Han as a master. Moreover, Lu Han's last move about Raiden, Thunder-style chakra mode is useless. You don't teach me. Why don't you teach me? Didn't you apologize to me? If you teach me, I will accept your apology. The excited Xiao Ai has already started to mess around. I apologize for letting you hit me out. It's not my fault that you never hit me. Lu Han shrugged. Good. Xiao Ai laughed angrily, I must beat you all over the floor to find Kiba. Look at the trick. Xiao Ai went berserk, blue light exploded all over her body, surrounded by thunder and lightning, and attacked Lu Han wildly. Lu Han saw the tricks, and if he could dodge, he would dodge. The two of you came and went, and they fought in the courtyard again. Might Dai returned to the tree, and again acted as the enthusiastic watch of the onlookers. It's endless, bullying people. Tsunade gave Lu Han a blank look and went back to the building muttering. Is Xiao Ai stupid? Of course he's not stupid. Lu Han provoked him, so he borrowed the donkey to get off the slope, still discussing with Lu Han in the name of breathing out. Lu Han was used to giving him a few pointers. He was naturally happy like this. It sounds good, he is stealing teachers. Lu Han just let him steal it. It is also to pave the way for his future anti-stealing. Time flies, another 3 days have passed. There was still 1 day left before Lu Han and Lao Ai agreed to a decisive battle in the Valley of the End. This morning, the messenger of Kurigakure hurriedly came to Konoha and brought Lao Ai's handwritten letter. As Lu Han expected, Lao Ai officially replied to the duel, but it was rescheduled after half a month, that is, it was extended for half a month. Lao Ai did not find any other reason, but said that he was injured and needed to rest for a while. Lao Ai is a man, he can be called upright, he doesn't have so many twists and turns, and the news of his bloody battle with the first Kurigakure Corps has spread. He knows that no matter what excuses he makes, Konoha will know that he is injured, and he will simply tell the truth. At the end of the letter, Lao Ai asked about Xiao Ai again, hoping that Xiao Ai could return to the camp as soon as possible. In fact, he was warning Lu Han to release him immediately. In this matter, Lu Han did not give Lao Ai any response, because he did not need a response, so naturally someone would reply to Lao Ai, and that person was Xiao Ai. Residents of the Kumogakure mission. This time, the Kumogakure messenger who came to Konoha to deliver the letter was named Songmeng. He was received by Lu Han in the Hokage building before, and then he hurried to the residence of the Kumogakure mission to meet the Kumogakure ninja who accompanied Xiao Ai to stay here. They were all from his own family, and they spoke directly. He made it clear that he wanted to see Xiao Ai, but then he heard that Xiao Ai was going to Tenten to play the cold light recently. Songmeng waited left and right in the yard, but she didn't see Xiao Ai coming back. After that, she couldn't hold back, and told Anbu ninja guarding the yard that she wanted to see her young master. The Anbu ninja got an explanation from Lu Han, and personally led the way and sent him to the mansion in the forest. In the courtyard of the mansion in the forest, Lu Han came back from the Hokage building. He started fighting with Xiao Ai again. Xiao Ai made rapid progress. After adjusting his ability to focus on speed, the threat to Lu Han became more and more serious, and Lu Han fought against him every time. 10 moves. There are 3 or 4 moves that need to be defended, and there is no way to escape. But Lu Han did not give up his advice to Xiao Ai. It's not a bad thing for Xiao Ai to become stronger. Song Meng came and interrupted the fight between Lu Han and Xiao Ai. He greeted Lu Han first, then dragged Xiao Ai to the corner of the courtyard where no one else was, and sneakily gave Xiao Ai a letter. Master, has this Konoha ever been abused? This damn Konoha is holding you back. Lord Raikage is already furious. How is your injury? If it's okay, go back with me today. Song Meng whispered. What are you talking about? Who dares to abuse me? Xiao Ai glared, then slowed down. It's not that Konoha is holding me, it's just that my injury hasn't healed, so I didn't go back. After speaking, Xiao Ai opened the scroll, which was naturally a handwritten letter from Lao Ai. Lao Ai asked Xiao Ai about the current situation, and urged him to go back earlier. He also said that if Xiao Ai was wronged, he could explain in his reply that Lao Ai would send someone to secretly cooperate with him to escape from Konoha. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Xiao Ai shouted in her heart. Konoha treated him very well. He didn't want to go back at all. It was cool to steal the teacher. Chapter 0700 Do you think you will? For Xiao Ai, living in Konoha is more comfortable than living in Kumogakure village. When it comes to food and drink, the Land of Fire has a vast territory, the most fertile land in the ninja world, with abundant production, and Xiao Ai is eating at Lu Han's house these days. It's really what you want from the mountains and the sea, and Tsunade's craftsmanship is irresistible. Speaking of freedom, Xiao Ai is really free in Konoha. No one will restrict his movements. Of course, this is related to his not wandering around other places. There is another point that Kumogakure can't compare, and it is also the point that Xiao Ai values most, that is, under the guidance of Lu Han, his strength has grown by leaps and bounds. After returning to the residence of the mission every day in the dark, he will find a few sparring partners. Fighting for a while. It's not that Xiao Ai thinks her strength has grown, but the Kumogakure ninjas in the mission think so. Konoha's care for Xiao Ai is really meticulous. Tsunade's medical ninjutsu is not comparable to a Kumogakure ninja, although Tsunade once beat Xiao Ai. But Xiao Ai does not hold a grudge against Tsunade, because he has recently heard that Tsunade with that violent temper. Konoha is a large group of young leaders, and they have been beaten by Tsunade, even Jiraiya and Orochimaru. Even Han Guang was ripped off by Tsunade back then. This made Xiao Ai realize that Tsunade was not targeting himself by beating himself, who made him look down on women. In Lao Ai's letter to Xiao Ai, he also said about the postponement of the duel. Xiao Ai is not surprised, because there have been rumors in Konoha these days that Lao Ai killed the first Kurigakure Corps alone and was injured because of it. Ai's wisdom can naturally imagine that the duel may be postponed. Xiao Ai is extremely superstitious about his own strength, so he is not worried about how much Lao Ai is injured. Master, look, the dark-skinned Song Meng whispered. I'm not going back. Xiao Ai immediately closed the scroll, shook her head at Song Meng, and said in a stern voice, my injury is not yet healed, and there is no war now. I have nothing to do when I go back, but it will delay the treatment of the injury. Believe me, I won't write it anymore. You go back and tell my father, just say that the child is not wronged here. He can go whenever he wants. Xiao Ai pondered for a while. He knew that he couldn't stay in Konoha forever, so he said, it may be as short as 5 or 6 days, or as long as 7 or 8 days. When my injury is healed, I will go back as soon as possible, so that my father does not need to worry. Song Meng just passed the message on his behalf, and did not persuade Xiao Ai. He could also see from Xiao Ai's expression and tone that Xiao Ai had a good life here, so he was relieved. Xiao didn't tell Song Meng about stealing the cold light from his teacher. First, he wanted to surprise his father and let him know that even if he was injured, he would not slack off and his strength had grown. Second, he was afraid of causing his father's dissatisfaction, because the current practice concept is different from that of Lao Ai. When Xiao and Song Meng were talking, Lu Han didn't go back to the main building, but just watched from a distance in the yard. Xiao didn't hide what he said, but Lu Han could hear it clearly, so he almost laughed out loud. After all, Xiao is only 18 years old, and he can't compare with the fourth-generation Reikage in the original book. After Song Meng got Xiao's explanation, he left in a hurry, exited Konoha under the escort of Anbu Ninja, and went directly back to the border camp. Xiao went to Lu Han again, looking like you were looking for Kiba all over the place if I didn't fight, and you swore to be human, and wanted to fight Lu Han, but this time, Lu Han directly stopped Xiao, not with Xiao. Hands. You'd better go back, your injury is 90% better, and it's time to go. Lu Han said with his hands on his face unpleasant, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking, I can give you pointers, it's just to see that you're going wrong. It's just a pity in my heart, but you don't know how to advance or retreat, it's endless, go back. Hearing Lu Han rushing him, Xiao suddenly became anxious. If he went back to Kumogakure, he would not be able to find another person who could point him like Lu Han. Xiao's strength can be ranked in the top 10 in Kumogakure. Those who are stronger than him are either very senior or legion commanders, and have no time to teach him, and without Lao Ai's permission, other people nor will he teach him without permission. After all, Xiao Ai wants to be Reikage in the future. Whoever becomes Xiao Ai's master will be superior to others in the future. Lao Ai does not allow anyone to put pressure on his son. Besides, Lao Ai himself, he always taught Xiao Ai personally, but now Xiao Ai has realized that what his father is good at is not suitable for him. Xiao Ai didn't know what to say in a hurry, but Lu Han broke his mind. He realized that he couldn't deceive Lu Han, and glared at him. He said anxiously, are you afraid? I'm afraid I will hurt you. You broke your face. Humph. Konoha cold light, that's all. Stimulate the law. I'm afraid of you. Lu Han's face turned cold. Don't be afraid of me, why drive me away? Xiao Ai raised his chin and said, didn't you say I can't hit you? I'm about to hit you, so you drive me away, aren't you afraid of what? Okay you. Lu Han pretended to be furious, come on, whoever is afraid of you is your grandson. Come on, I'll see how you hit me. Come on. Xiao Ai was overjoyed, secretly scolding Han Guang for being an idiot, but on the surface she still looked arrogant. She entered Raiden Thunder style chakra mode and rushed towards Lu Han. The window of the main building, Tsunade looked at the two who were fighting together again outside, and mourned for Xiao Ai for a moment. 5 more days. In the morning, Lu Han was fighting with Xiao Ai. One attack and one defense. Xiao Ai attacked wildly. When Lu Han saw the move, he sometimes gave advice. Master, he will try to figure it out when he goes back at night. The news about Lao Ai breaking the first main battle of Kurigakure and the rescheduling of the duel has spread all over the ninja world. All parties are waiting for this battle, so the ninja world has rarely entered a truce period, and Lu Han can be described as extremely leisurely. Changliu. Xiao Ai made a big move to Lu Han. He had recovered from his injury and had no scruples. Do you think it's just you? Lu Leng laughed, while dodging sideways, his whole body shook, blue light shrouded thunder and lightning, and he also entered Raiden Thunder style chakra mode. Xiao Ai was shocked, and was stunned on the spot. Chapter-101-120 Black Market Head Trading Camp. The stunned Xiao Ai stared at Lu Han with jaw-dropping eyes, not even taking precautions. In fact, his precautions were useless. With Lu Han's strength, he could fight anytime, anywhere, and he was powerless to fight back. How? Are you afraid? Lu Leng raised his eyebrows at Xiao Ai with a smile. What are you? How can you? Xiao Ai can't speak anymore. Of course I learned from you. Lu Han showed a treacherous smile, What do you think I'm playing with you for? You think you can learn from me and take advantage of me? Humph. Raiden Thunder Style. Check the carrot mode is just a special way of using Raiden Thunder Style chakra. I have seen you perform this technique on me every day for half a month. Do you think that with my talent, you can't learn it? Ha ha ha. When it was over, Luhan let out a weird laugh, making Xiao-ai go crazy. You are shameless. You bastard. You stealthily learned the secrets of our Kumogakure. You. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Xiao-ai shouted angrily, her mad eyes full of yuhi. You secretly learned from me, I secretly learned from yours, isn't it even? Luhan said with a handful of mastery, besides, I learned this technique through observation, not from your Kumogakure. I can't figure out the method of cultivation myself. You guys, Kumogakure, are too overbearing, right? Han Guang, you are shameless. Shameless. Xiao-ai screamed and rushed towards Luhan, looking like he was going to tear Luhan alive. Luhan is also in Raiden Thunder Style chakra mode, coupled with his terrifying basic abilities, his speed and agility have skyrocketed. When Xiao-ai hit him, he didn't fight back, he just tried his best to avoid it. Forgot to enlarge the move, it was just a punch and foot attack, even if the strength was different from before, even Luhan's clothes Kakuzu could not be touched. The two fought for another morning, and Xiao-ai was exhausted. Tsunade appeared at the door of the main building and greeted the two to eat. Hearing this, Luhan quickly distanced himself from Xiao-ai and stopped. Go, your injury is healed. Go back to Kumogakure, don't stay here. For Lao-ai's face, I'm not embarrassed you, don't force me to do something to you. Xiao-ai was covered in sweat and looked at Luhan with sadness and indignation. Big loss. He did learn some skills from Luhan, but Kumogakure's housekeeping skills were stolen by Luhan, and he didn't know how to explain to his father when he went back. He felt very powerless because he couldn't beat Luhan. Although his strength had grown recently, he still had a huge gap with Hengguang. He knew that. It's dinner, don't linger. Tsunade appeared at the door again and told the two of them to eat. Luhan turned around and walked into the main building, ignoring Xiao-ai. No, I can't just leave like this, shameless cold light. I just learned some fur from him, and he stole the Raiden Thunder Style chakra pattern. Xiao-ai rolled her eyes and looked at Tsunade, have a plan in mind. When no one was paying attention, he slammed a fist on his chest, spurted blood donation, and shouted, Master Tsunade, whoops, come and see, my injury seems to have recurred again. Tsunade, who was standing at the door, saw Xiao-ai's actions in his eyes, and was speechless for a while. When she walked out of the main building and passed by Luhan, she tilted her head and gave Luhan a strange look. Tsunade was already extremely contemptuous of Luhan's behavior of bullying the silly boy. Luhan went back to the house to eat, and after a while, Tsunade, who had checked Xiao-ai's injuries, also entered the house. Xiao-ai followed behind, without looking at Luhan, and came to the table to eat. Luhan wanted to say something, but Tsunade stopped him. Xiao-ai saw everything in her eyes, and felt grateful to Tsunade. Tsunade really felt guilty for helping Luhan to deceive the silly boy, which was not what she wanted. In the afternoon, Xiao-ai used aggressive tactics to demean Luhan again, prompting Luhan to fight against him. According to the plan, Xiao-ai planned to leave this afternoon, but now he has changed his mind, and it can be delayed for a day. At dusk. Boom. Roar resounded throughout Konoha, not from inside the Konoha village, but from the forest in the south outside the village. Luhan, who was fighting with Xiao-ai, secretly said, no, and disappeared into the courtyard. Xiao-ai didn't have the skills of Luhan and couldn't keep up with Luhan's speed, but he could hear where the sound came from and ran away immediately. Anbu Ninja didn't stop him, he just followed him, but he couldn't catch up at all. Xiao-ai in Raiden Thunder Style chakra mode is extremely fast. There are not many who stabilize his head. Outside Konoha village, South Forest. In the makeshift camp, there was already chaos. Several ninjas in different costumes moved back and forth to kill in the camp. Many Konoha ninjas and black market killers were slaughtered. This camp is a black market head trading camp, established as a result of the black market output plan. It is where Konoha uses to acquire black market ninja heads. Anyone who kills black market ninjas, no matter who they are or what forces they belong to, even if it is Kurigakure, Omegakure ninjas, and even Konoha missing nin, can come here and take out black market ninja heads or corpses in exchange for bounties. The camp has been established for more than half a month. Since the news that Han Guang robbed the Kurigakure treasure house has spread, there have been many ninjas who have come to give people their heads. There are real and fake ones. Lu Han has the ability to distinguish between mistakes. Yes, in Lu Han's eyes, the corpse of the ninja will not show its strength, but it will have the identity information before death. However, Lu Han couldn't do everything himself. Those in power should be good at employing people. Therefore, Lu Han did not sit here and personally identify the real and fake heads one by one, but sent some ninjas who had contact with the black market to identify them. Konoha also bought a few black market killers to take a commission. Way for them to discern here. Lu Han had long thought that the black market might fight back, and this camp was very likely to be attacked. For this reason, in addition to setting up 2 ninja battalions here, he also ordered White Fang to visit the camp frequently. The camp was attacked after all. Lu Han appeared out of thin air and glanced at the 3 black market ninjas who were slaughtering. All of them were black market ninjas. It's all super elite Jonin. Chapter 0702_Tear Dragon. White Fang is not in the camp, and White Fang, the captain of Anbu, doesn't need to sit here in person, not to mention that he has the status of a consultant now. Lu Han just asked him to visit often, not to let him 10-10 guard here. If White Fang was there, it is estimated that the black market ninja would not dare to do it. Lu Han saw 3 black market Yuhi names in action. The battle had just begun. Lu Han came directly with the technique of Hiraishin. Therefore, many people on Konoha's side were injured, but not many died. In the camp, except for Konoha ninjas, black market killers hired by Konoha, the rest were all ninjas who came to give away their heads. There were 7 or 8. Because identification is a very complicated matter, the ninja who sent the head needs to provide enough evidence, and Konoha also needs to confirm the authenticity of the evidence, which will consume a lot of time, and there are always people who fish in troubled waters and send dummy heads that do not belong to black market ninjas. Therefore, although Konoha can receive 10 or 20 people every day, there are not many people who can really confirm that they are black market ninjas. Damn, Lu Han scolded in a low voice. Blood fog filled his body, turned into blood, and Yuhi lightning attacked and killed the black market ninja. Sarutobi Tarzan was desperate. As the squadron commander of the Konoha garrison army, he was also considered a master of Jonin's strength. He was sent to be stationed in the trading camp. He thought it was a very pleasant job. Although Lord White Fang always came to inspect, it made him have to cheer up, but it was much more comfortable than the previous dark post work. Unexpectedly, this camp, which is very close to Konoha village, would be suddenly attacked. The gray-haired old man was originally here to give away people's heads. Who would have thought that he would suddenly violently kill people? No one could resist his blow, and before the team of ninjas stationed here even had time to jointly launch ninjutsu, he was dispersed with futon wind-style ninjutsu. Sarutobi Taishan dodged in embarrassment. He wanted to distance himself and used ninjutsu to fight back, but he didn't expect the old man to come directly to him. Damn it! Sarutobi Tarzan stopped retreating and drew out his long knife, intending to fight the gray-haired old man for his life. The gray-haired old man was wielding a huge shuriken. The shuriken was spinning rapidly in his hand, approaching Mount Sarutobi, and he threw the spinning shuriken with a flick of his hand, attacking the front door of Mount Sarutobi. Sarutobi Taishan waved his knife to resist, but when he heard the sound of shattering, he felt a chill in his heart, knowing that his knife was broken. It's over. Sarutobi Tarzan's heart was ashes. Right at this moment, bloody Yuhi flashed with lightning, passing by the gray-haired old man's side, like a sword flash, but Sarutobi Taishan didn't see it clearly. he only saw the huge shuriken flying in front of his eyes, and it was about to split. Own head, and then stop. Huh, why did it stop? Luhan, covered in blood fog, appeared in front of Sarutobi Taishan. His left hand firmly grasped the huge shuriken, and there was still an inch left, and the huge shuriken was about to slash on Sarutobi Taishan's face. So close. Are you okay? Luhan tilted his head and asked. Sarutobi Taishan was startled and forgot to answer Luhan. Survived. Lord Hengguang saved me. Back off. Luhan said again, then dodged and disappeared. Until Luhan disappeared, the gray-haired old man who was a few meters in front of Sarutobi Taishan had blood on his neck. He kept throwing the shuriken with one hand, his head fell first, and then the headless corpse fell softly on the ground. Luhan first killed the one with the lowest strength rating, which was the level 50 bronze boss, and the remaining two were both level 50 white silvers. In fact, the three of them were rated very close. They were all S-rank ninjutsu, and they were all dead men. So the destructive power is about the same. Luhan naturally wants to kill the easy one first. Cove Light is coming. Quick. There are two remaining black market ninjas. One is a bald man in his 40s, and the other is a short and thin old man in his 60s. Since Konoha has set the rule that selling heads must show their true faces, they do not wear masks. In fact, they didn't plan to leave alive, so naturally they don't care about letting people see their true colors. When the two saw Luhan's appearance, they immediately killed the gray-haired companion. They all gave up the enemy in front of them in fright and quickly moved together. There were endless screams in the camp, many ninjas were wounded, several camps were burning, thick smoke billowed, and blood filled the air. You guys are so brave. Luhan was furious and quickly approached the two of them. The bald man and the slender old man did not talk nonsense. After flashing together, the hand seal was very complicated and was not completed immediately. Both of them wanted to release S-rank ninjutsu, one Kaiden fire style and one Futon wind style. From the chakra fluctuations emitted by the two hand seals, Luhan could judge the attributes, and he also understood. Once the joint release of the two of them is successful, it will inevitably spread to the entire camp and destroy everything. Wind helps fire. Fire up the wind. The combination of Futon wind style and Kaiden fire style, the power of double S-rank ninjutsu, is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. This naturally poses no threat to Luhan. However, there were other ninjas in the camp, 2 battalions of Konoha ninjas, nearly 400 people. Because they had not received a clear order to retreat, most of them were in the camp and wanted to besiege the two. Luhan didn't want to see the tragic destruction of the camp. He could resist with ninjutsu, but the shock wave that erupted was even more terrifying. He could also resist with Susanoo or Rashomon, but he could only resist. In one direction, the other direction is bound to be devastated. Damn, they didn't want to get out of here alive. Luhan stopped, quickly relieved the state of anger and blood, and entered the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode again, and then burst into flames. Kaiden Fire-style Dragon Fire Bomb. Futon Wind-style Super Harm. The bald man and the slender old man spit out wind, and the other spit fire. The fire dragon and the hurricane appeared at the same time. Seeing that they were about to merge together, they burst into even greater power. But they saw a blue lightning rush directly into the fire dragon, and they met the fire dragon. The flames enough to melt the rock ripped apart the fire dragon and passed by in a flash. The fire dragon was swept away before it swelled to ultimate. The blue lightning directly killed the short and thin old man, bombarding it with an elbow. Ninjutsu, heavy flow. The short and thin old man was torn apart under the attack of the heavy current storm as if it had exploded. At the same time, Xiaoai rushed to the camp and watched Luhan defeat the S-rank ninjutsu and kill the short and thin old man. Chapter 0703 _ How could it be so fast? Camp was destroyed after all. Futon wind style is the strongest ninjutsu in destroying the environment. Compared with flooding, the wind destroys more thoroughly. Compared with fire, the wind destroys a larger area. As for Raiden Thunder style, mostly melee ninjutsu or single-attack ninjutsu, and it cannot be compared with Futon Wind style. However, although the camp was destroyed, not many ninjas were killed or injured. Bald Man releasing Futon Wind style was to expand the scope of the fire. As a result, the S-level Kaiden Fire style ninjutsu released by the short and thin old man was defeated by Lu Han before it could burst into power. It is no exaggeration to kill it in the bud. The 2 battalions of ninjas stationed in this camp are all elites. The battalion leader and the leader's assistant have elite Jonin strength. In the face of S-rank Futon Wind style, they also considered that if they retreated, their subordinates would be afraid. There were more casualties, so they all chose to block with ninjutsu. Seeing that Lu Han killed the short and thin old man with Kaiden Fire style on his back, the bald man was horrified and retreated away from Lu Han. At the same time, the hand seal was divided into 9, and the 9 bald men rushed in different directions. From the rippling Futon Wind style chakra on his body, it can be judged that the clone ninjutsu he uses is of the Futon Wind style attribute. The insight map showed that very few teammates had disappeared with blue dots, which made Lu Han relieved. After all, people will die in war, but how many people die is a big issue. If Konoha kills too many ninjas this time, Lu Han's black market eradication plan will be questioned, and the arrogance of the black market will become more arrogant, and those swaying black market killers will also despise Konoha, not only will not go again. Harvest the heads of black market ninjas, and may even continue to be hired by the black market to kill Konoha ninjas. The impact is manifold. The 9 bald-headed men ran wildly around. He didn't look like he wanted to escape, but to kill some more people. Lu Han's eyes turned to Mangekyo, and he immediately saw the flaw. He accurately found the real body of the bald man, then turned into blue lightning and chased away. How is it possible to be so fast? How is it possible? He can actually dispel S-rank ninjutsu, and the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode can also be used like this. A look of shock. Lu Han has refreshed his cognition. He felt that his brain was not enough. How could it be so fast? Naturally so fast. Breakage at the peak of the original work. His speed comes from the base speed and activation bonus. His base speed is 2 pervert, which is why he is fast. However, in Xiao Ai's eyes, this is not the case. Xiao Ai doesn't know what the basic speed of Lu Han is in normal state. He believes that the reason why Lu Han is so fast is because of the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode. Of course it is true. Lu Han's speed at the moment is obtained by relying on the Raiden Thunder style chakra mode bonus. Xiao Ai watched Lu Han catch up with the bald man's real body, and the 2 sides fought for a round. This time when Lu Han fired the knife, the terrifying light of the knife was like a waterfall, and the bald man's flesh and blood flew into the sky in an instant. Blood rained. Ha, ha, Lu Han gasped a little after he stopped. The fighting time was short, but Lu Han felt tired. Because Lu Han broke out his ultimate combat power without affecting others, he wanted to kill the 3 super elite Jonin as quickly as possible. He understood that since these 3 dared to come, there would be no the plan to leave alive. They are not afraid of death, they just want to cause more casualties. In this case, 1 more second of their life, Konoha could have killed and injured a few more people. The battle is over. After Lu Han appeared, he killed 3 powerful attackers one after another. All 3 of them deserved the name of the strong, but they were not Lu Han's combined enemies. Lord Cold Light. Lord Cold Light. Lord Cold Light. Cold Light. Cold Light. Cold Light. Cold Light. Cold Light. I don't know who was the first to cheer, and more people joined in the shouts, gradually connecting and becoming tidy. Lu Han turned around and looked at the surrounding Konoha ninjas, looking at the excited and reverent eyes. The corners of his mouth raised a subtle arc, and he raised his hand with a solemn expression. The shouting stopped abruptly, and the needles fell silently around. Clean up the battlefield, count the casualties, and rebuild the camp. Lu Han ordered. Not long after, multiple medical teams arrived at the ruined camp, and White Fang, Inuzuka Tears and others also came. According to the casualty statistics, 3 foreign ninjas who came to sell human heads died and 5 were injured, making a total of 8. They are all among the casualties. For the black market, they are a greater threat than the Konoha ninjas, because they understand the black market and have the ability to hurt the black market. In Konoha, 13 people were killed, 29 people were seriously injured, and 144 people were slightly injured. The loss is not too big, that is, more than half of the 2 brigade casualties. It is not very pleasant to say. The destructive power of the strong is so terrifying. With the strength of the 3 super elites, it is enough to cause a large number of casualties to a 1,000-person army without the strong. If Luhan hadn't arrived in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Luhan comforted the wounded ninjas, and personally healed several seriously wounded and dying ninjas. Then, he handed over the aftermath to Inuzuka Lei and White Fang, and returned to Konoha village. Meeting. Luhan decided at the meeting to increase the hunting price of black market ninjas, especially for the heads of high-level ninjas and cage-level ninjas, and the price will be doubled directly. He put out another 100 million taels to add to the planned budget. There is no way, just have money. Anyway, it was all the money that was stolen, so Luhan didn't feel bad. Time flies. 9 days later. Xiaoai finally said goodbye officially and will take the envoy back to the border camp, because in 2 days, Luhan will duel with Lao Ai. Before leaving, Xiaoai said harshly to Luhan, "Despicable cold light, I'll come back for teaching." Luhan didn't say a word, flipping through Byakugan's expression of, "Get out of here, I'm going to be bored to death by you," and Xiaoai shouted angrily. Kumogakure camp outside the border of the Land of Fire. Xiaoai found Lao Ai, and after greeting each other, Xiaoai said angrily, "That despicable and shameless cold light, stealthily learned the Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode." Chapter 0704_Despicable Cold Light. Although Lao Ai is a strict father, he really cares about this son. It can be seen from the fact that he avenged Xiaoai and entered the Kurigakure First Army alone. He is not a common favorite for Xiaoai. Lao Ai was naturally happy when his son came back, but he didn't expect to hear the bad news. Hangguang stole the study. Lao Ai had a dark face and frowned. How did he steal the study? Could it be that someone took the practice scroll to Konoha? Was it seen by Hangguang? It's not, father. It's like this, that. Xiaoai suddenly became vague, as if it was hard to say. That is, he learned it after watching the child use the Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode. Bullshit. Lao Ai shouted angrily. No matter how talented and evil he is, he can't learn it after you use it a few times. Could it be copied with Sharingan? It's impossible. Sharingan can't be copied. You have already the Raiden Thunder Style Chakra can be covered all over the body and used freely, and the training difficulty is already S level. Quote. That, actually, Xiaoai was a little afraid to say. Seeing his son's appearance, Lao Ai realized that his son was hiding something from him, and scolded him with a black face. Come on, what's going on? It's the boy was caught in the trap of Hangguang. Xiaoai drooped his head and said, Hangguang said he apologized to me and asked me to hit him, but he didn't fight back. Naturally, the boy would not let this opportunity go, but he always dodged. And always use words to stimulate the child. The child is not stimulated, he will look for him again and again, trying to hit him, and again. The child often uses the Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode in front of him. Lao Ai looked at his son with a startled expression. This sounds too weird. You 10-10 hit him. He won't fight back. Let you chase after him. Yes, he just doesn't fight back, sometimes he defends. How long? Every day. How long is each day? That is, since the child's injury has recovered 7, 8, he has been looking for him every day, adding up to the morning and afternoon, 8 or 9 hours a day, more than 20 days. Lao Ai opened his mouth and stared at his son with a drooping head. He didn't know what to say. According to Xiaoai, it is not difficult to understand that Hangguang can stealthily learn the Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode, because Hangguang is not only a genius, but also has a Sharingan, so he can see how the chakra in Xiao Ai works. Lao Ai was in a panic. Not because the Raiden Thunder-style chakra pattern was stolen, but because he began to doubt his son's IQ. Silly, silly. Lao Ai never felt that his son was stupid before, but now he is very worried. Even an idiot should see that Han Guang was able to do something like being beaten voluntarily, and insisted on it for more than 20 days. There must be a purpose. Why didn't your son see it? What Lao Ai didn't know was that Xiao Ai had concealed from him that Han Guang was instructing him. If this matter was included, Lao Ai would definitely not feel that his son was stupid, but unfortunately Xiao Ai dared not say it. After all, his current practice, he has already left the growth path that Lao Ai planned for him. Despicable and shameless Han Guang, do you still want your face? Do you want your face? Lao Ai couldn't help but yell, "You're the most powerful person in the ninja world, the leader of a village, and you actually bullied my son." Actually speaking, Lao Ai is not very concerned about Hengguang stealing the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode, because Hengguang learned it by talent, not by stealing scrolls, not by coercion, and more importantly, Hengguang's strength. He is too strong and has a lot of abilities. The Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode he just learned can't improve his strength much. Of course, this is all Lao Ai's own idea. He has no idea how much improvement the Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode can bring to Lu Han. From another point of view, Konoha Taijutsu ninjas are extremely rare, and there are even fewer Grandmaster Raiden Thunder-style, so Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode flow out to Konoha, it will not have much impact. What makes Lao Ai really unacceptable is that Han Guang actually lied to his son. Let your son be wronged. Old I can't bear it. I don't blame you for this, but blame Han Guang for being too shameless and treacherous. Han Guang is not a taijutsu ninja. He stealthily learned Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode, probably not to improve his strength, but to insult you. Lao Ai, after comforting his son a few words, he got up and said angrily, "Don't worry, after 2 days, my father will definitely avenge you." Father must teach him a hard lesson. Xiao Ai suddenly regained his energy, raised his head and bit Kiba's teeth. It's best to let the child beat him with his own hands, to vent the hatred in the child's heart. Lao Ai looked at his son with strange eyes. He felt that his son had changed, but he couldn't be sure exactly where it had changed. It seems that the attitude towards the cold light is a bit strange. Can you beat your hatred by yourself? If it was Lao Ai who was played and humiliated like this, it would definitely be murderous. You haven't hit him for so many days? Lao Ai asked. No. Xiao Ai lowered his head again. If his defensive block is not counted, not once. Lao Ai knew it. It seemed that his son was obsessed, so he wanted to take a cold light. Thinking of this, Lao Ai couldn't help but hate Han Guang even more. In his opinion, Han Guang is not only joking and insulting his son, he is also attacking his son's confidence. Soft knife kills people, so vicious, his heart can be punished. 2 days later. On this day, the weather was sunny, and the End Valley was crowded with people. It was originally a sea of people, and there were many people who wanted to watch the Battle of Focus, but with the arrival of all Konoha Anbu, Konoha White Fang Hataki Sakumo came in person, the onlookers scattered as birds and beasts, and the entire End Valley also disappeared. Calmed down. Neither Lu Han nor Lao Ai wanted this battle to be watched, in order to prevent other forces from knowing their full strength, and also for fear of being taken advantage of, so the Valley of the End was completely blocked, and it was naturally Konoha who blocked it, because the Valley of the End is in the Land of Fire. Lu Han refused the request of Tsunade and others to go with him, went alone, and arrived at the End Valley half a day later than Anbu. This afternoon, the sun was shining brightly. Lao Ai had come a long time ago, standing on the open rocky ground with a sturdy body on his back, his arms crossed his chest and his face gloomy. Lu Han appeared out of thin air, holding a knife and looking at Lao Ai. The two supreme powerhouses were about to duel, and the atmosphere suddenly became tense. "Do you want a face?" Lao Ai asked. "What?" Lu Han was taken aback. Chapter 0705 _ You are pretending, you know. Lu Han has thought many times about what the third-generation Raikage will say before the official duel of the third-generation Raikage, and what Lu Han should say himself. He has pondered over and over again, because he has no ill feelings towards the third-generation Raikage, and wants to promote the alliance between Konoha and Kumogakure. Totally unexpected. Third generation of Raikage didn't greet Lu Han, didn't compliment Lu Han and then said harsh words, and didn't say, although you are strong, but I will definitely defeat you, and so on. Lu Han felt that his brain circuits were not enough. I don't know why Lord Raikage said this. Lu Han asked back quite formally. In fact, he really wanted to say, trafficking human organs is inhumane, but Lu Han didn't want to admit that he was shameless, and it wasn't serious enough to say that. You are the most powerful person in the ninja world, and the ruler of a village, you dare to tease and bully my son. Han Guang, why are you so shameless? You are despicable and shameless. Lao Ai pointed Lu Han's nose and cursed. Then what? Lu Han didn't know how to answer. My son is young, with a pure and good nature. He doesn't know people's sins. How can you bear Han Guang? Do you really think my son is easy to bully? Lao Ai continued to scold. The corners of Lu Han's mouth were twitching. What does it mean to be young and innocent? Which of these two is suitable for Xiao Ai, who has a strong back? Cough, to remind you, your son is 18 years old, and I. 17 years old. Lu Han coughed lightly. So what? That's why you teased and bullied my son. Lao Ai's hair fluttered. You first took the opportunity to learn the Raiden, Thunder style, chakra pattern in the name of apology, and you repeatedly played with my son. Let my son not be able to hit you, and it will destroy my son's confidence. Hangguang. You are really a man in this way. You are so cruel, you really deserve to be the direct disciple of that old bastard Sarutobi Hiruzen. Poor, even he has learned how to be treacherous and vicious. It's a pity that it's too far away, otherwise Han Guang would have to be spit out by Lao Ai. It can't be. Lu Han figured it out. Could it be that Xiao Ai didn't tell Lao Ai about what I pointed out to him? This is a misstep. Lu Han guessed a lot, and he kept calling mistakes in his heart. He thought that Xiao Ai would definitely show off to Lao Ai when he returned, and he would naturally tell him what Lu Han pointed out to him. In addition, Xiao Ai said it in a tone that he thought he was taking advantage of. If he wanted to come to Lao Ai, he would no longer be embarrassed to denounce Lu Han for stealing the Raiden, Thunder style, chakra mode. But obviously Xiao Ai didn't say it. He only said how much grievance he had suffered, which caused Lao Ai to be furious. Lu Han could also think of why Xiao Ai didn't say anything. It was just that the cultivation concept was already at odds with Lao Ai, and he was afraid of being scolded. You bastard! Lu Han was helpless, and let Lao Ai know that he was pointing Xiao Ai, which was an important part of his plan, because Xiao Ai was a Kumogakure ninja and Raikage's son. Without Lao Ai's permission, it is impossible to apprentice Lu Han at all. And now, Lu Han has been trapped by the unintentional Xiao Ai. Not only is there no hope of accepting apprentices, but even the alliance between Konoha and Kumogakure is hanging. Han Guang, I thought you could be in a high position at a very young age, and you must be a person of extraordinary virtue, but I didn't expect it. You are more vicious than Sarutobi Hiruzen, and kill with a soft knife. In today's battle, it's either you or me. Death, take your life. As soon as Lao Ai's voice fell, terrifying chakra fluctuations erupted throughout his body. If there is a substantial blue light going straight into the sky, the thunder and lightning surrounding him are already dense like armor. Compared with the mad Xiao Ai and the old Ai, it is not an exaggeration to say that the difference between Yingwo and Haoyu. The breath of Lao Ai gave Lu Han a feeling of heart palpitations. The last one who gave Lu Han such strong heart palpitations was not Hanzo, nor the third generation Kazekage, but Sarutobi Hiruzen. Third generation of the village of Kumogakure, the land of Thunder level 70 bronze boss Ai. He is also bronze, but more terrifying than Hanzo in the name of a demigod. I think this may be a misunderstanding. Lu Han looked at Lao Ai vigilantly. Stop talking nonsense. Let's start, Hengguang, show your ability. Lao Ai shouted angrily. Boom. Lu Han's breath finally broke out, and at the same time, Lao Ai moved. He was just rushing in alone, but it gave Lu Han the feeling of surging waves. The strongest shield, Lu Han murmured, not choosing to fight Lao Ai in melee, but throwing out Horaishin Kunai, dodging and hiding. His body appeared out of nowhere in midair. Lu Han folded his hands together at extreme speed to hand seal. Cadent Fire Style, Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation. The super huge fireball hit Lao Ai. The power of the LV9 Ultimate Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation has surpassed the general S-level Cadent Fire Style ninjutsu. Although there is no Susanoo status bonus, it is also stronger than most S levels. Group attack ninjutsu is more powerful. Lao Ai, who turned into thunder and lightning, stopped abruptly and looked up at Lu Han, neither dodging nor dodging. Rumbling _. The flame devoured Lao Ai and erupted into a sea of fire. The hot fire burned the space with a sense of distortion. Lao Ai stood in the sea of flames without suffering any damage. The attack of the flames isolated by the lingering thunder light, he seemed to be like the god of thunder. He was staring at Lu Han in the sea of fire. This battle is not without people watching, but there is one person, that is White Fang. Hatake Sakumo stood on a distant mountain, looking at the two who had already started fighting, and seeing Lao Ai's understatement of resisting the terrifying Cadent Fire Style attack of the cold light, he couldn't help but look horrified. The strongest shield is so terrifying. You are pretending to force you to know. Lu Han appeared 100 meters beside Lao Ai and couldn't help but complain. After a lot of age, he is still handsome. In fact, Lu Han also knows that it is impossible to break Lao Ai's defense with only one Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation, but if he resists when it is not necessary, what is not pretending to be? Lu Han hopes that Lao Ai will continue to pretend. The big deal is that he has more chakra than anyone else, and Lu Han grinds him to death. For this battle, Lu Han came with the determination to win. Because Lu Han knows Lao Ai's weakness, but if it's not necessary, Lu Han doesn't like to rely on weakness to defeat Lao Ai. He wants to defeat him in an upright manner. Hengguang, it's up to me. Lao Ai seemed to let Lu Han make a move, and he shouted at the same time, and the speed even doubled. Chapter 0706_Thunder Abuse Level Chio Dance. The change in Lao Ai's speed surprised Lu Han, and it exceeded Lu Han's normal movement speed. Not counting Horaishin, Radiant Thunder Style, Chakra Mode, and Angry Blood State, Lu Han's speed was not as good as his. Even if Lu Han used Horaishin's technique, if he didn't spill enough kunai, he wouldn't be as fast as I. Actually think about it, Lao Ai's Radiant Thunder Style, Chakra Mode must have reached LV6 level, saying that he is not good at speed, that is with the future 4th generation of Raikage Little Abby, he is just not faster than his son in the future, does not mean that he is slow. Lu Han still adopted a long-range attack tactic. He still doesn't want to fight Lao Ai, because his sword skills have been restrained by Lao Ai. Lu Han's sword is known for its speed, which can bypass the opponent's defense and directly attack the opponent's key points. In fact, Lu Han's sword attack power is not at all weak. From a destructive point of view, a waterfall-like rain of swords fell, enough to destroy A-level defensive ninjutsu. But in the face of Lao Ai's defense is without dead ends, and the defense power is even more than S level, which is close to the absolute defense. In this case, it is difficult for Lu Han to take advantage of the melee battle with Lao Ai. Cadent Fire Style, Great Fire Destruction. Futon Wind Style, the art of flower rain cutting. Futon Wind Style, Sleepy Roll Ascension. Lu Han used kite-flying tactics to pull Lao Ai man to end the valley run. He relied on Horaishin's technique to distance himself from Lao Ai, and released ninjutsu to attack Lao Ai one after another. Lao Ai was too tired to deal with it. He did not fight Lu hard every time. Han's ninjutsu can hide. Obviously, he also understands that resisting ninjutsu will consume more chakra. If this battle becomes a battle of chakra attrition, it will not be good for him. The roar in the End Valley continued. Although Lao Ai was not hurt in any way, he wanted to vent his anger on his son and chased after Lu Handa, but he couldn't catch up, and he roared in anger. Han Guang, if you have the ability to fight, what is the ability to hide in the east? Do you want to be a joke in the ninja world? Lao Ai's roar echoed in the End Valley. As you wish. With Hui's response, Lu Han appeared 200 meters behind Lao Ai, his hands clasped together. Boom _ If there is a substantial ray of light rising into the sky, rushing to a height of 60 or 70 meters, it changes rapidly, and it condenses quickly. In the light, bones, meridians, flesh and blood, tendons and skins appear, and finally, armor. Susanoo. The third form, the mature body. In fact, the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan can already summon the fourth form complete Susanoo, that is, all the true complete Susanoos, and Susanoos in this state can fly. However, Lu Han's eternal Mangekyo came from exchange. He didn't have a long training in pupil power and Mangekyo control, mainly pupil power, which did not reach ultimate, which was the reason why he couldn't summon the perfect body. Let's fight. At this moment, the weapon in Susanoo's hand was an exaggerated sickle. Lu Han let out a low growl, waving the sickle at Lao Ai. Both of them were wearing tortoise shells, and neither laughed at the other, and started a melee that was extremely intense. It is worth mentioning that Lao Ai does not have any weapons on his body, but Xiao Ai has a weapon on his body, that is, the golden armguard on his wrist. The armguard can be used for defense, or some small round Jinchuriki column can be raised. Used for ramming attacks. The reason why Xiao Ai needs weapons and armor is naturally because his Raiden Thunder style chakra mode defense is not strong enough, and it has not reached the level of the strongest shield. But Lao Ai is different. All parts of his body have terrifying defensive power, and he is a weapon himself. Humanoid weapon. Go away. Susanoo. Lu Han's sickle slammed hard, and Lao Ai confronted him with Chongli Storm, but was directly blasted away. But Lao Ai's reaction was very fast. When flying upside down, his body crashed to the ground, and then it turned into lightning flashes. The flashes appeared behind Susanoo. Susanoo's speed was too slow to dodge Lao Ai's attack. Yulei Shen Furious Thunder Axe. Lao Ai hit chakra on the foot, hit Susanoo from bottom to top, and directly overturned Susanoo. Lu Han suddenly felt his spirit tighten. The mature Susanoo is very unstable. One blow, but the power involved the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Susanoo's huge body rolled on the spot, and then turned around and swung the sickle again. Lu Han used his sword skills on Susanoo, and the blade was so fast that Lao Ai couldn't dodge. Boom _ Lao Ai was shot flying again. But this time, Lao Ai's face changed. The huge sickle still couldn't break through his defense, but the power would be transmitted, and he didn't know if this blow would hurt him internally. Hangguang, you're good at it. Lao Ai didn't expect that Lu Han could use Susanoo to slash such a fast knife light. He couldn't help but exclaim, but Lu Han heard a more flaming desire to fight in this admiration. Lao Ai, who was knocked into the air, flashed again. Lu Han took advantage of his height and the length of his huge sickle. When Lao Ai was still more than 100 meters away from him, he continuously attacked with his sword. The ground was bursting everywhere, and this time Lao Ai was already prepared. He actually walked in a zigzag shape, dodging continuously, and reached in front of Susanoo in a breath, and then his whole body was shaken, and his arms were raised high. Ray Eye Bomb. Lao Ai actually hugged Susanoo's soles and lifted it hard. While Susanoo was being overturned and slightly vacated, he hugged Susanoo's calf from below, and rose into the sky, flipping Susanoo upside down, and hitting him again. Rumbling _ The terrifying Raiden Thunder style chakra exploded on Susanoo, and the lightning spread throughout Susanoo, as if to devour Susanoo. However, this was of no use, and Lao Ai still couldn't break Susanoo's defense. At this time, will Lao Ai do useless work? Of course not. Lao Ai is even making moves. Flipping and hitting Susanoo hard, Lao Ai shot into the sky like a thunder and artillery shell, rushing directly into the clouds. Is this going to hit Tathagata's palm? Lu Han couldn't help thinking, and then his face changed. He knew what Lao Ai was going to do. Legendary level Chio dance. Lao Ai fell like a meteor, dashing down from the sky in an instant, and when Susanoo just returned to his standing state, he used his hand as a knife and hit Susanoo's head hard. Boom! Crack! Susanoo spreads fissures down from the top of his head. Chapter 0707 Someone is coming. Sure enough, it was this trick. Lu Han knew it. In the original work, it wasn't Lao Ai who used this trick, but his son Chao Ai, who directly split Uchiha Sasuke's Susanoo with the lay abuse Chio dance. The huge Susanoo, the luminous energy will not crack, the light will not be torn, the crack is Susanoo itself, the armor, and the bone shape covered with flesh and blood structure under the armor. It's really fierce, Lu Han exclaimed. In fact, Lu Han didn't plan to use Susanoo and Lao Ai to win or lose, because it was impossible. Lu Han's Susanoo has not yet reached the highest level, because the armor has been added. It's very unstable because of the other structure. Lu Han won't be disheartened because Susanoo is cracked. He used Susanoo to melee with Lao Ai, but he wanted to try the Susanoo displayed by the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, how much combat power it has. Hangguang, you are nothing more than that. Lao Ai drank coldly, full of sarcasm. He he he. Lu Han gave Lao Ai an inexplicable laughter, which was a little permeating. Back quickly. Lu Han used the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan with all his strength to repair Susanoo as much as possible. At the same time, the sickle danced wildly, splashing hundreds of sword lights, preventing Lao Ai from continuing his combo. Susanoo has not been completely broken, so Lu Han does not plan to release it for the time being. After Lao Ai succeeded in one hit, he didn't take advantage of the victory to pursue and continue to enlarge his moves. Amplifying moves requires a lot of chakra. Lao Ai was naturally concerned. In fact, he didn't want Lu Han to release Susanoo, because in Lao Ai's opinion, cold light maintaining the existence of such a big guy must consume a lot of chakra, repairing it, and the consumption is even more terrifying. Therefore, Lao Ai just cracked Susanoo, but did not crush Susanoo with the strongest attack. The strength reached the level of Lu Han and Lao Ai. Once they found that they could not do anything to the opponent in a short period of time, they would basically use tactics to gain more advantages for themselves. It's all calculations. This is the case with the strongest players. Without knowing who can restrain who, they can only calculate each other, let the other party consume more chakra, make the other party more tired, and make the other party more impatient, in order to find a chance to win. In the original work, many classic decisive battles have to be fought for a day and a night, or even longer, before the winner can be determined. This is the reason. After Susanoo was repaired, Lu Han started to melee with Lao Ai again, sometimes wielding a knife, sometimes punching, sometimes stepping on his feet. Susanoo's strength naturally needs to be said. Even if he can't break Lao Ai's defense, it is enough to shock him. If Lao Ai suffered too many such attacks, he would definitely suffer serious internal injuries. Of course, Lao Ai is not stupid. While he tried his best to dodge Susanoo's attack, relying on his speed advantage, he frequently appeared all over Susanoo's body and responded. The two fought fiercely for nearly 4 hours, until dusk fell, and neither took advantage. More than 100 Anbu ninjas were guarding everywhere outside the Valley of End. They could only hear roars and feel the unimaginable chakra fluctuations, but they were unable to watch the battle. As the only spectator, White Fang was still standing on the bare mountain, looking at the huge Susanoo from afar. Call. Chakra fluctuations came from behind White Fang, and the masked Anbu ninja hurried behind White Fang. What's wrong? White Fang turned to look. This Anbu ninja has white eyes, but it is the Anbu squad leader, the super elite Jonin Hyuga Bonin. Someone is coming, Hyuga Burnin said. His Byakugan was on, and his hand pointed a direction to White Fang. White Fang frowned slightly. If someone came, someone would come. Since he found out, why didn't he deal with it immediately? If you can drive it away, you can drive it away. If you can't drive it away, you will catch it, and if the opponent resists fiercely, you will directly kill it. Hyuga Burnin came to report the incident, which made White Fang feel weird, didn't say anything, and disappeared directly on the mountain. In the southwest of the Valley of the End, in a very corner position, there is a small hill. The hill is full of trees and extremely dense. This place is very secret, because it belongs to the Valley of the End, and Anbu Ninja cannot arrange manpower here. If someone really dived here, if it wasn't for Byakugan of Benin Hyuga who could see through it, it would be really hard to find. Okay, hit him. Yes, hit him. Oops, how did he get beaten out? Hey. Yes, good fight. The figure with the back and the waist was extremely excited, standing on the big rock for a moment, looking at the end in the distance valley battlefield, hands kept gesturing. What are you doing? White Fang's cold and faint voice sounded from behind. Xiao Ai was startled immediately, because White Fang had hit him, and he had a psychological shadow. Hearing White Fang's voice, he jumped off the stone, distanced himself from White Fang, and turned around to be alert. Hataki Sakumo saw Xiao Ai and immediately understood why Benin Hyuga informed him. First, this sneaky guy is the son of Raikage III. Second, Hyuga Burnin is not his opponent, so naturally he can't drive him away. What are you doing? I warn you, my father is over there. I didn't provoke you. Xiao Ai warned timidly. He was more afraid of Konoha White Fang, who became famous earlier than Han Guang, because White Fang always cold and unsmiling, and White Fang is old. Xiao Ai is still an 18-year-old boy, and White Fang is about to run for the third time. Get out of here, White Fang said blankly. Why? Xiao Ai argued. Why can you watch it here, but I can't? You are a Konoha ninja and Han Guang's subordinate, so you are allowed to watch on Konoha, but we are not allowed to watch on Kumogakure. White Fang saw that Xiao Ai didn't speak, thought for a moment, then turned to look in the direction of the battlefield and said, don't walk around. After speaking, White Fang disappeared and left. White Fang agreed to Xiao Ai to watch the fight. Considering two aspects, one is that what Xiao Ai said really makes sense, and he is not only a Kumogakure ninja, but also Lao Ai's son, and the other is that if White Fang attacks him, Lao Ai is likely to feel the breath of his son, disturbing the duel. With White Fang's permission, Xiao Ai grinned, but did not listen to White Fang's words. After taking a few more glances, she felt that it was too far to see clearly. She quietly left the Shaoshanbao forest and quickly approached the battlefield. Chapter 0708_Cold Light. You look down on me. White Fang didn't go far at all, and stared at Xiao Ai secretly. He saw Xiao Ai approaching the battlefield, but he didn't stop him. As long as Xiao Ai didn't get too close and interfered with the duel, White Fang wouldn't be a bad guy in vain. White Fang also guessed something about Han Guang's thoughts on Xiao Ai, so he didn't try to inform Lu Han. He knew that even if Lu Han knew that Xiao Ai came to watch, he probably wouldn't drive him away. Besides, White Fang doesn't need to report this kind of trivial matter to anyone, he can make his own decisions. Xiao Ai passed through a small forest, and entered a rocky field formed by historical battles. She jumped onto a large rock, and her vision suddenly opened up. Behind a stone as tall as one person, relying on the stone to cover, watching the battle from a distance. Although he had permission from the White Fang, he was sneaky. He was afraid that Lao Ai would find him and let him get out. Before the duel on this day, Lao Ai had warned Xiao Ai not to watch the battle. Generally speaking, in this kind of duel involving life and death, both parties are not allowed to watch, especially relatives and family members. There are many concerns. For example, when Xiao Ai is present, Lao Ai will consider if he wins, will Han Guang arrest his son and threaten him? Will Konoha make a move? And if he loses the duel in front of his son, it is very embarrassing, and to put it more extreme, not only loses, but also kills. That would be cruel. There is no father's hope that his son will see himself killed. Xiao Ai was warned by Lao Ai that he was sneaking in by himself, so he kept sneaking around. The End Valley battlefield, Susanoo has been broken twice. Lu Han has consumed a lot of chakra for this. Fortunately, his Sharingan has been promoted to Eternal Mangekyo. Otherwise, his eyesight will definitely deteriorate a lot. Lao Ai is getting more and more brave in battle. Although he has been severely injured, at least from the outside, he is not injured. The sky was already dark, but the two people on the battlefield were even more dazzling, because both of them were glowing. Huh, Lu Han suddenly exclaimed in surprise. In this duel, Lu Han didn't dare to be careless, so he didn't open the insight map very often, and his focus was on the battle. This afternoon, he only opened the insight map a few times, mainly to know if Uchiha Madara had any come to watch. Whether the two came to watch Lu Han didn't know, but when he opened the insight map this time, he found that there was a second Yuhi name in the Valley of the End. Since Lao Ai is the big Yuhi name, the identity information is displayed on the insight map, so Lu Han cannot determine who the second Yuhi name is through the insight map. It must be either Uchiha Madara or Uchiha Madara's level is higher than Lao Ai. Who is it? Lu Han was full of questions. The only teammate land in the End Valley, Anbu Captain Hataki Sakumo, the blue dot is near the Yuhi dot. This is the biggest reason for Lu Han's doubts. It was not unexpected for Lu Han to have Yuhi's name to watch, but since White Fang found out, why not drive away or take down? Lu Han is deeply aware of White Fang's strength, not to mention that it is stronger than Boiling Yu. I am afraid it is not much worse. Only a handful of people who can say that they are 100% stronger than White Fang. So Lu Han naturally wouldn't think that anyone who came here would be better than White Fang. Thunder Flare Acts 2. Lao Ai seemed to notice that Lu Han was a little distracted, raised his hands together, and waved his arms violently. Both hands hit Susanoo at the same time, and Susanoo was shot out immediately. His feet were slightly off the ground. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was flying. It stopped after more than 200 meters. Seeing the opportunity, Lu Han swept in the direction of the second Yuhi name with his corner of the eye. Because Susanoo was condescending, Lu Han's eyesight was amazing. Although he didn't see the figure on the huge rock in the distance, because there was a standing stone blocking it, Lu Han could see the identity information on the person's head clearly. It's Xiao Ai. He got it secretly. No wonder White Fang didn't